Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Ooh,
Okay, 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 boys and girls. We are live on the internet. Hello, internet. Welcome to the Greg Troyan YouTube channel because the Lipstick YouTube channel is dead. and we've
Damn.
got we've got
Got
people
him.
here. We are ranking the songs on the Taylor Swift album 1989, not from the year 1989, but the year she was born. And we've got a panel of people who dislike this album and me. So I am excited to talk about this album with a bunch of haters who are going to hate. Uh, so typically we go around the panel and introduce ourselves and talk about our history with Taylor Swift and this album. Hi, I'm Greg. This is my channel. Thanks for coming by. Been a Taylor Swift fan for a while, and I remember this album when it came out. Everyone wondering, is she going to make the transition to pop? Okay, will the market accept her? And the market did accept her, but was it as good as what came before? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today. But when it came out, I liked the record, thought it was fine. So let's pivot all the way down to the other corner and go with Victor. What his history with Taylor Swift was prior to this record, what he thought at the time, and what he thinks now.
I had not consciously listened to Taylor Swift really until basically you started doing this. Obviously, I heard a lot of the hits just from being alive in America, um, and was not particularly fond of them. Um, I found a lot to like about the first album, and if memory serves, I found some stuff to like about the second album as well, and it has fallen off considerably from there. and this one was no exception.
Now, Julia, you were at one time a Swiftie. You were big into the first three records, and then you fell off significantly with Red. But then when you re-listen to it, you're like, "Oh, this wasn't as bad as I remembered it being." But 1989, I don't think you liked at the time. How do you feel about that transition, and how do you feel about the record now?
I feel worse about this album now than ever, now that I've had to listen to it multiple times. Yeah, so Red I felt alienated by a little bit as a fan at the time. And then I just completely dropped her because I found other stuff I liked listening to more anyway. And I think the big thing for me with this one was I noticed that all of a sudden all of the people who didn't like her before, because like she's always been kind of a divisive figure. Like as a country artist, she was very divisive, and a lot of people I knew didn't like her music at all. And then all of a sudden, all of them took my place, and I was like, I don't like any of this. And I was kind of hoping maybe there would be hidden, like a hidden gem in here somewhere, and it was garbage. So I'm sorry to anyone who likes this album.
All right, so Steve, uh, living in Nashville at the time at the height of Taylor Swift's popularity, uh,
That's true. Was this the height of her popularity?
I think this was. I mean, you could argue now, at least in terms of like ticket sales, is the height of her popularity. But
Yeah. This
I
was
think,
distinctly an early peak for her, though. Yes.
I mean, this was, I think, maybe when she had the pop culture zeitgeist with this album. And I think this was
No.
at this point you could say she's a legacy artist. But
Yeah.
this was her big album at the time. This was her hysteria in terms of like, okay, this is my big giant mainstream album. This is her Thriller. Even though I think actually this isn't her best selling album. I think it's like 2 or 3, but I think this is the one that had the biggest like pop culture impact where people know the songs and it just sort of like captured the attention of the masses. So, what did you think then, and what do you think now about this record?
I mean, I wish that this was her hysteria in that a new genre would have come along and killed her career 4 years later.
Oh,
Oh, anyway, yeah. So as we've discussed in earlier episodes, I was never particularly Taylor Swift's target demographic. Um, I guess I'm probably closer to her demographic than I've ever been before, in that I am now old enough to have kids who could be budding Swifties, um, but still not. But I became much more aware of her as a cultural phenomenon when this album came out, in that, she hopped over to the pop airwaves and just flooded it, and had, 3 videos in a row that were, getting played on all of the top 10 countdowns, and, had however many number 1 hits off of this album. I didn't count or look it up. And I think of the songs that came out, I remember 3 of them from the time, and one of them was like, this is fine. It's got its moments, but it's not something I'm ever going to actively seek out. And one of them was like, this is bad. I don't like this. And one of them was like, I don't have thoughts on this, and there is way too much lore for me to want to form thoughts. So
The Silmarillion of her catalog.
yeah, now Greg has like sort of forced me into the lore. So now that I know it, I'm like, all right, I guess I have thoughts now. And they're wrong, he tells me. So I guess we'll see how that pans out over the next hour and a half.
All right, so now we have Mike Walsh, who is not necessarily a pop guy, more of a hard rock guy, but also enjoys his share of 80s music and some 80s pop. This album has some 80s pop stylings, and he has been somewhat positive towards some of the Taylor Swift main albums. Not as much of the vault tracks, but it's like, oh, I'm able to appreciate what she's doing here, and has been, I think, pleasantly surprised with a number of her songs. But how did you feel about this album at the time, and how are you feeling about it now? Did she wreck it by transitioning to pop?
So I never really I knew of this album. Obviously, it was very big and successful. I really only knew the hit singles from it. So I mean, remembering Taylor Swift as a country artist, and she became very successful as a country artist. There was a point I went through where I heard she was transitioning more to pop, but I was kind of like, not that I was a huge fan, but I was just like, oh man, come on, but like country was your thing, like that's what you made it big as, like be you, like why transition to pop? And then when she started getting very like way even more successful doing pop, I'm like, all right, I get it. Like if you can make an even bigger career and bigger name for yourself, like crossing over, like okay, like cool, good for you. And then hearing this whole album, I was kind of like, oh yeah, kind of wish you hadn't done that. And I also just I want to give an apology to Julia. This whole time, I had never listened to whole Taylor Swift albums before, so we were listening to them the first few. I'm like, these are enjoyable. Like, why is Julia like trashing Taylor Swift so much? Because she claims she used to be a fan. Like, come on, like just let her be her. And like, this was definitely the first album where I was like, I get it, Julia. I'm so sorry. Like, this is what you were telling me the whole time was gonna happen. Like,
We're warned.
yeah, I if you just told me like, oh hey, enjoy the first few, Red's kind of transitional, and 1989 is terrible. Yeah, I still wouldn't have believed you. Not because I think you're untrustworthy. I have to hear music for myself and yeah, learn the hard way, I guess.
Reputation is going to be so fun because that is one where I have a lack of enthusiasm. That's going to be tremendous when we get to that one.
I need Jamie to show up.
Or Alexis needs to not have everyone around her be sick. One of the two, or both.
Both would be fun.
But
Look,
because
when you hang out with skateboarders, you can't help but have everyone around you be sick.
that's true. So we are on a bit of time constraints today, and we have a lot of songs to go through. So I'm just going to jump into this ranking. So coming in as the last place song, voted by this panel of experts and myself, we have Bad Blood coming in last place. And we had a few ties in this ranking, but this one, with our tiebreaker rules, did definitively end up in last place. I'm the only person who put this in last place, but I am correct. This song sucks. This is when I think about the negative stereotypes of Taylor Swift and what people think her songwriting is. This song is one of those ones that immediately comes to mind. It is about a vapid celebrity beef with Katy Perry because Katy Perry booked one of Taylor's backup dancers at the same time. And so she's like, "You betrayed our friendship because you booked that backup dancer when I wanted to book that backup dancer. Now we're enemies. So here's my diss track." Oh, and I remembered my joke from the chat that I wanted to say. Though this isn't on the album version, Bad Blood is the worst diss track that Kendrick Lamar has ever appeared upon. I think that is a universally accepted fact. Who would have thought that this was his warm up for Drake many years later, just like, practicing a little sparring match here. But the verses actually aren't that bad, but the chorus is one of the most annoying choruses I've ever heard from any song, and that is including Bat Dance by Prince. It is just an awful chorus. Bat Dance is actually a good song if you look at it as a medley. And if you don't look at it as a medley, it's a absolute dumpster fire. But Bad Blood, it is a bad song. I don't like it. We're just gonna go down the line for ease sake, and then if you have a rebuttal, jump in. But Julia, you're next. You gave this 2 points, so you also don't think highly of the Katy Perry diss track.
I mean, no. What is there to like in this song? It's grating. It's really bad. I actually hadn't heard the Kendrick Lamar version before though, and when I looked that up, I was like, see, I don't like the verses either. I think the verses are stupid. The lyrics are like beyond corny, even for Taylor Swift, whose lyrics I don't like in the first place, and don't connect with. They're really bad, and I think that melody of just like be do do is like it's embarrassing. It sounds stupid on an already really mediocre track, but when you replace like that with Kendrick Lamar, I was like, oh, it took one bad thing away and replaced it with something slightly better. So like it helped it bump up one spot for me, which I know is kind of dicey based on the fact that we weren't actually going to talk about that one. But I was like, oh, it could almost be salvaged. That chorus is really embarrassing. It's also noteworthy to me because I watched the music video when it came out just because it had Ellie Goulding in it and Haley Williams, and I wanted to see them. And so
they're not on the song though, right?
They're not on the song, no.
Right.
Thank God. I don't want them involved in the actual mess of the song. But
I feel like if Ellie Goulding and Haley Williams had helped write the song, then you'd have a okay song out of it.
I have thoughts about every basically collaboration with Taylor Swift. I might as well just get it out in the air now. And I think that every time an artist I love collaborates with Taylor Swift, the song is awful, and it's definitely Taylor Swift's fault because I like that artist and they're not working with Taylor Swift. And maybe if it was vice versa, like they wrote the song and she joined in, it would be less bad. But I've never, ever, like, she's collaborated at this point with several artists that I adore. Actually, artists that this is the time period where I was not, like I said, like I stopped listening to Taylor Swift at all, but I swapped her out with a lot of the alternative pop artists. This was when I got really into Florence and the Machine and Lana Del Rey, Marina and the Diamonds, Ellie Goulding. I mean, a lot of different lady pop artists with like more grit, more personality.
Lady celery artists.
Yeah, lady celery artists. Truly, we've evolved, and every time she collaborates with one of them, I think the song is pure dog shit. So, I think I know whose fault it is.
Yeah, I mean, and back to the lyrics, I think you're right. Like, when people think that, like, Taylor Swift writes vapid songs about, like, celebrity bullshit that is unrelatable to the average person, like, this is one of those songs that comes to mind, and then just like, oh, she just writes breakup songs and celebrity drama BS. Like, it's
This song, it's just funny to write a song about that because like the only people who are gonna listen to it and be able to relate are like 13-year-old girls, or they're like, you borrowed or like you talked to my boyfriend that is not my boyfriend and now we can never talk again, or it's just like, I don't know, you wore a shirt that I think is ugly and now we're beefing or something. I can't remember what I was fighting with other 13-year-old girls about, but it's stuff like that. It's like, and now our friendship is dead. And it's like that level of just like, here's your audience now. It's literally middle schoolers. I hope that's a level of emotional sophistication that won't stick around. I hope you'll mature as a songwriter in person between uh, 2012 and 2025. I'm going to take a big sip of water right now.
Hope you can maintain that level of emotional sophistication, Taylor. Could be challenging.
We'll find out.
Victor, you gave it the same number of points, so I think it made sense to go to you next.
Yeah, and this is perfect because speaking of bad blood, the cat that's on our laps right now is having a lot of bad blood with the cat who normally lives in this house. Yeah, this song
Cats
is
be
really
beefing.
annoying. And it's like, okay, you sort of set up the, the meter and the motif and the chorus, and then like don't even fit the lyrics in it very consistently. It's really some spectacular stuff, and I knew it was like about Katy Perry, but I had not heard the level of pettiness about it. That's I'm actually that kind of made me like it a little bit more of just how petty it is. Um, Not a lot more. But I still don't want to listen to it. Um, yeah, I really did not like this. Obviously, this is one I had heard at the time. Oh my, we're in a very interesting tangle now.
So, Steve, you gave us 3 points, 1 whole point above Victor and Julia.
It's true. All right. Well, I've got a lot of like heavily loaded bullshit on a different song, so I'll be concise. I can't stand Katy Perry, so this got a couple of bonus points for talking shit about her.
2 whole bonus points, apparently.
Yeah, and the fact that it was as petty as it is doesn't really bother me. That just sort of seems par for the course for both of them. I expect no better from either Perry or Swift, and so that's what happened.
I kind of expect better from Swift, given her like ability to show maturity in her songwriting in the past. But she's been petty, so this was definitely possible. But she definitely has shown the ability to be better. Mike, you gave this 9 points. Why is this a great song?
I don't know if it's a great song, but it's memorable, and that's more than I can say for a lot of the album. So I'll give it that. I'm with Victor. I didn't know until 5 minutes ago that this had anything to do with Katy Perry, but that actually kind of makes it funnier for me, and kind of makes me enjoy it a little bit more at what a ridiculous premise that is. Um, but yeah, I mean, on an album filled with just kind of like repetitive beats and repetitive choruses and vocals or whatever, like at least it's one I remember. And I mean, I guess I have bias because I mean, this was fairly big at the time, so I heard it a lot. So it's kind of just in my brain. Whereas most of these songs I was hearing for the first time over the past few weeks. But I just don't think it's the worst song on the album, but I'm not passionate enough to be upset right now either.
Well, according to this list, the worst song on the album, according to Mike, is This Love, which is next on the list. So, Mike, take it away.
Yeah, again, just I found it to be very boring. Is this the one that kind of sounds like a very boring church worship song?
It's the slow one, yes.
Well, there's a couple though, but there's this one. If I'm not mistaken, this one was giving me like my least favorite type of church music vibes. Cause I have a lot of friends who are like, "Oh yeah, I love worship music. It's like so uplifting." And honestly, just I find a lot of it to be very boring and repetitive, and just very sort of like, like vocally
we're like U2, but without the edge.
Yeah, I mean, U2 is very accurate because I got a lot of U2 from this album in general. Like my least favorite things about U2, and I don't really have a lot of favorite things about U2. So, yeah, this was just a very boring song to me, and that is why it's at the bottom.
conversely, I ranked this the highest. I gave it 7 points, and I think this might be the last Nathan Chapman produced song in the catalog. Um,
Ooh.
so it's like, all right, I'm not going to completely abandon everybody who has gotten me to this point. You can produce one song on the album. Let's see if you can produce something for pop and not just country. And it definitely feels like Nathan Chapman does not know how to produce a pop song, which is like very sparse. It seems like he's kind of afraid of using different instrumentation. Um, but you know what? That's part of the charm of it. And I think this is also the only song on the album that is a sole writing credit for Taylor. So I think this was an attempt to like maintain the singer-songwriter of her in this new era. But also, no, it can't be country. Definitely make it sound poppy and synthesizer heavy and such. But I think it's one of the better lyrical pieces on the album. I think it's actually decently catchy for how slow it is. And I do appreciate that just like sticking with the people who got you there, even if you're about to abandon them immediately after. I do like that sentiment. And so I don't know. I appreciate this one. Gave it 7 points. I could rank it a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but I don't know. I liked it. Let's see. Juliet, you gave this 5 points. Were you feeling that Natty Chap energy?
No.
Where were all his background vocals?
Yeah, where was he? Yeah.
That's probably why she fired him after this. He didn't do the backing vocals.
He had one job.
Where are you? I don't even remember this one. Which means I think I do know which one it is. It's one of the really boring, sleepy, lackluster, just utterly forgettable. Like,
Bridge.
you already have so many tracks on tracks and bonus tracks upon bonus tracks. You do not need to release every fucking thing. Just leave it on the floor. It's fine. It don't have to put it on the album. I feel like she's just like, I'll just keep releasing everything I've ever made. And I'm like, there's a reason why most people like don't. And
You
then,
could just put it out as a digital-only iTunes bonus single.
sure,
It was 2012. Super fans can buy it. Nobody else has to suffer.
No one else. Like, it does not need to be on any official version of the album. It does not need to be here.
This one wasn't even a bonus track. This was on the album proper. I think this was like...
It is? Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, it has no place on this album. It feels weird. And ultimately just, it's so boring, and it's long, and it's forgettable, and why is it here?
Julie, it's funny you say that because it feels so long. I remember checking out the time, and I think it's only like 4 minutes, maybe closer to 5. But it's I know because I'm like, oh, another boring 7.5 minute Taylor Swift song. Nope, just feels like it.
I think Taylor Swift needs a 3-minute cap. Please don't go beyond 3 minutes. It's too much, and it's not for you.
Her 10-minute song was kind of good though.
Yeah, the original like 5-minute version of it was.
I don't think so.
So, Victor, you rate this 1 point above Julia because you like slow, boring music that's kind of sleepy. So, tell us why the song is great.
It's kind of amazing. This was a song that whenever we were talking about the album, like even if the album was playing, I would be like, which one was this again? Even if we had literally just listened to it. I don't remember it at all. So it basically is just above things that annoyed me. And whenever I see the title, I have a different Taylor Swift song that comes to mind, which I think is a really bad sign. It's another really annoying one from, I think it's from Red, This Love Is Treacherous.
Oh, I was thinking you were going, this love is taking control of me.
Well, that's
I
not a
said,
Taylor Swift song.
It's
But
not. I was going to correct you.
But I also thought of that too, obviously. There's already precedent for a song being called This Love, and this one's not stealing any crowns.
So, Steve, you gave this 5 points. Were you feeling the Natty Chap energy from this song?
Literally everybody else in the panel has described the song as slow, boring, and forgettable. Greg, do you think I know anything about this song other than what I have written down on a screen right now? I wrote down Token's slow song is slow, and probably did the same thing that Victor did, where it only ranked above the ones that actively upset me.
And Alexis also only gave it 2 points, so no one likes it except for me. So moving on. Next up on the list, a whole 11 points higher than the previous 2 songs. How You Get the Girl is next on the list. Steve, you rate this below This Love, so did this one actively annoy you?
Probably this one is unfairly low in my ranking, just because a lot of this album really does blur together. But by the time I got to this point in the album, I was pretty done with it. And so, like, I describe this whole album, the more it goes on, as just lazy. It's Taylor Swift being lazy in her songwriting, using lazy production, using very, stock sounding loops. And like, that production is more exciting than the country production was. It's pop production, but it's lazy pop production trying to carry more weight than lazy songwriting should. Oh yeah, my hot take on this one was, people talk about AI replacing artists, and this sort of song is exactly what AI is going to be very good at replicating. Just generic bap.
All right, Victor, you ranked it a whole single point higher. Do you have anything positive to say about this AI Studio Ghibli song?
Antithetical to life.
This is one I have. This is the track I have directly below This Love, and this one has the distinct honor of being one that, when I see the title, I remember being annoyed by the song, but I can't remember anything about the song itself, and that's actually kind of remarkable. I think Julia remembers it better than me.
I have it.
You gave it 7 points.
This Love, yeah, I gave it 7 points. I hate this song. It sucks. It's annoying, and it's stupid, and I don't like it. But the reason why I put it, yeah, exactly. The reason why I put it so high, I think compared to most of the people here, is I was like, at least it has like energy. But yeah, it just is. It's so generic. There is nothing to like about it. Why is it here? Why are there 16 songs, and why is this one? It truly sounds like a 13-year-old Taylor Swift wrote it too. Like, except I know that that's not true, because 13-year-old Taylor Swift wrote better songs. She wrote better stuff than this. It was more interesting. It felt more personal. It felt more engaging. This is so like impersonal and just like, I don't know. I can't get over the 13-year-old girl energy of it, but I feel like that's just not even fair to 13-year-old Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I think you're touching on a big problem that I have with this record overall, is that it does feel a bit impersonal and very deliberately crafted. Which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy stuff that's deliberately crafted and where the artist is able to like step back a little bit emotionally to like really focus on like tightening the product. I don't think that's always a bad thing, but I think it is such a hard pivot from how personal her songs have been, even just like one record prior. There's nothing on this album that really feels as deeply personal as something like a Dear John or even All Too Well. And so I think that is lacking from this record.
I think that she kind of misunderstands what personal music has to sound like, because she's made her own brand of it. Like, she has a very specific like diary entry style of just oversharing about her life, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to be so literal. And then if you're gonna make the switch to pop, like, there's a lot of really great and talented and interesting pop artists out there that you're now like putting yourself in the pool with, and those artists know how to be impersonal or personal in a more interesting way. I think that's kind of the thing with this album is like it's it's not like you can just like flip a switch apparently and just completely understand what makes a great and interesting pop album or good pop production. It's certainly not partnering up with Jack Antonoff. Clearly, that guy's. I mean, it's funny because he. I know I'm wrong because he makes like he works on countless hits. I hate him and his style, and I just can't. I can't bear to hear anything that his horrible hands have touched. Um, unless he works with Lana Del Rey, in which case I will listen to the thing his horrible hands have touched. But like, I don't know. It just it feels like no one put any real like fun into this. Nothing really interesting happens. There's nothing exciting. And I think especially I mean coming from 2025 where we've been on such a hot streak with like so many fun, interesting, personable, exciting pop albums where interesting things happen that going back and listening to something like this is really hard because it really is just like it feels like no one put anything into this. There's nothing exciting, there's no surprise. And then she lost her personal element and replaced it with just like not a fun version of being impersonal, which is very possible because that's how most other pop artists are doing it.
Also, for somebody who is supposedly doing like diary entry style songwriting and always writing about her life, for somebody who famously owns cats, for there to be 16 songs on this album and not a single one about the cat, that's just bullshit.
I mean, I actually fully agree with that.
I write new songs about the cats every day.
Freddie Mercury wrote about his cat, and it was devastating.
It was. I mean, these are
heartbreaking song.
These are
that man was a songsmith.
That is true. These are all true statements. However, I don't think this album is as bad as a lot of us are ragging on it. I do think this is actually still a good album. I think it is just an oddity in the catalog because she hadn't figured out quite that blend of how to blend her more I am a singer-songwriter with the pop genre, and I do think she developed that skill more over time. And this was just I'm just trying to make a pop album with like a bunch of, I mean, really good singles, which we'll get to later.
It's a good album. There's just nothing good on it.
No, I think this is for example, I think this is a good song. I gave it 8 points, and so did Mike. I think it's a bouncy pop song that if I don't know, I could see this being covered by a pop punk band and fitting into that band's set list extremely well. Imagine Simple Plan doing this song. Totally works. So, Mike, you gave this 8 points. What do you think about this one?
I mean, I gave it 8 points in the sense that I ranked it one spot below Bad Blood. So take that for what you will, but I don't hate Bad Blood as much as you guys do. Yeah, this one ranked in the middle for me because at least it does something. I'm not particularly attached to it, but it does something. At least when I had it on, there's a little bit of energy there, a little bit of something going on. I'm not against artists going very pop or having their big sellout album or whatever. I don't think this is like great, interesting pop music. And when I say interesting pop music, I don't mean like, wow, that really makes an artistic statement. No, I just mean pop music that's like really catchy and has big fun melodies. It's really a problem I have with this album. I wasn't getting a lot of big, awesome hooks. I was just getting loop after loop and like vocal loop after vocal loop. I mean, like
it's not the ass shaking music you need out of a pop album.
Yeah, just like give me some booty shaking music or something, or just like big. Give me some key changes. Give me some guitars. Like I don't know, just give me something. But so yeah, it's a song that does something on an album that doesn't do a lot. So yeah.
I mean, that's fair. And so next up on the list, we have a song that's extremely divisive amongst the panelists. I gave it 13 points. Mike gave it 11 points. Steve gave it 11 points. And then everybody else ranked it in last place, including Alexis, who isn't here. So Welcome to New York is next on the list. So 3 of us are like, yeah, this is a pretty good song. I enjoy this. And We've got the haters. So apparently this is a very divisive song in the catalog. Bad Blood, very divisive. A lot of people hate that song. A lot of people also hate Welcome to New York. Some people hate both. Uh, but you know what, Victor and Julia, why don't you start off with why you hate this song so much?
When we started the album, I was not sure we were going to make it all the way through with this as the opening statement. This is, I mean, if I was doing the classic lipstick panel thing where we were putting like Billy Corgan's nipples and a bunch of other stuff in there, that would have really separated this from Bad Blood. Like I needed an excuse to put it way further down. Like this is so bad. It really epitomizes all the stuff like Steve and Mike were saying earlier, where it's like vocal loops, synth loops, and also the synth loop is annoying. It's one of the most exquisitely bad things I've ever heard from a major pop release. Yeah, I'm shocked. I am shocked to hear that this was not the last place track. It is awful.
Yeah, I mean, I sent that message to everyone because I was feeling genuine despair and hopelessness because it's so bad. I was like, this can't possibly be a song that people actually like or find redeemable. Yeah, it really is. Like, those loops drive me nuts. At least Bad Blood, if I try really hard, I can tune out, but that stupid beep, 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 boop, 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 is so, like, piercing. Like, yeah, exactly. It just sounds like, I don't know, Baby's first synth song, and like no one had any idea. I was like, didn't the people who worked on this like go to music school or something? Don't they have any better ideas than just like beep 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 boop beep beep boop? It's so irritating. Like it is so bad, and it made me legitimately upset in real life to have to listen to it. And then the sentiment of the song is also just unbelievably bad. Like leave singing about New York City to anyone else who's done it. I don't like it pretty much any time. It's annoying pretty much no matter who does it.
Well, Andrew WK?
Sinatra?
Exempt.
I was thinking Andrew WK too. That's a jam, man. That's a jam.
I love New York City.
Ace Frehley?
That makes me excited to go to New York City. This makes me want to avoid New York City at all costs. She didn't even like paint a good picture of like what being welcome to New York is. It's not what I'm interested in.
You know what Welcome to New York means? There's gay people there. I'm out of my small town. There's gay people, and that is cool.
There were gay people in Nashville in the 2010s.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure the Big Machine offices were 3 blocks from tracks at the time. She could have walked to a gay bar from her studio.
Yeah, but now that she's away from, I'm going to go next. The transition, since I rank this the highest, this is her transition away from country to pop, where you're allowed to say like, "Hey, gay stuff is awesome." In the pop genre. In country, that's still very much stigmatized. So this is her making like a pivot, saying, "Hey, I'm no longer country. I'm in the city. Things are glossy and cool, and there's actual diversity, not just straight white people." And she is excited about that. And here is my synthy new wave hook, which if you listen to new wave, which we all act like, "Oh man, that is so cool." But if you actually listen to it, it's all the same bullshit loops in new wave also. That is authentic to the genre. I think it's fun. I think it's catchy. I think it is a good opening track. I like the energy of it. I like the hooks. And like the older I get, the more I'm like, you know what? Like gay shit is great. So like, applaud the gay shit. I love it. It's great.
This is not nearly gay enough. Actually, I didn't even notice the gay part of this song, so it's not present enough to be correct. It's not gay enough. Should be gayer. But she's not brave. She doesn't have any real stances that she'll like put her whole Taylor Swift like power behind.
Taylor Swift is a coward. A lot of
Yeah.
Remember when an actual fascist was running for president last year and she almost publicly denounced fascism, or at least said, please vote for the other guy.
I mean, she at least did please don't vote for the other guy, who was a girl. So, Steve, you gave this 11 points. Is this gay enough for you?
I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to the gayness of it. And honestly, I'm a little bit ambivalent about where I placed it, especially in the context of discussing it right next to what's it called? That other song that I forgot. How you get the girl. In that it is subject to a lot of the same things, in that it's the same like boring loops, lazy songwriting kind of production. Greg, New Wave very rarely was constructed with loops in the same way, and that they were still generally tracking instruments live. Is either somebody playing that synthesizer or that drum machine live.
Sorry, so they're playing that same riff over and over again.
Well, yeah, but they played it actually instead of just looping it.
Work smarter, not harder.
Human element. That human element, yeah, I guess. Anyway, so like is subject to a lot of things. So I sort of feel like I probably should have ranked it lower. My initial reaction to hearing it though was like, oh, maximalist pop. I like that a lot more than what she's been doing before. And I did bump it down a few times while working on this ranking. But ultimately, I've spent half this morning with "Welcome to New York," kind of running through my head. So I'm like, I guess it's catchier than I want to give it credit for, so it probably should stay about where I ranked it.
Catchiness is not a virtue; it's just a thing.
No, catchiness is definitely a virtue.
Yeah, gonna agree with Steve on that. Unless it's Bad Blood, in which case, fuck that song.
I like it when people come up to me and like say, "Damn it, Steve, your song's been stuck in my head all day." I'm like, "Good."
Everyone is dead. Everyone on Earth is dead.
This one gets stuck in your head like the fucking Liberty Mutual jingle. Does that make it good?
Well, I guess there is a certain threshold where you should go to jail for writing catchy songs for ill intent, such as writing a commercial jingle.
Yeah, and this feels like her doing that. This literally hits me like the Liberty Mutual.
Welcome to Alcatraz. It's been waiting for you.
So, Mike, you gave this 11 points. Are you on the side of this is good, or is that just like the threshold of just like nothing meets the this is good on this album except for like the top 3?
Well, so, at the beginning, I gave an apology to Julia. So, Greg, now's your turn to get a little apology. When you said in the group message that this is the best song of the album, and I was like, dude, whoa. At the time, I was only about halfway through the album, and that notion sounded insane to me. Upon listening to the whole album a few times to do this ranking and realizing that the song is actually in the top half, I still don't think it's the best, but you were a lot closer than I realized or wanted.
I mean, that was a joke. It's not actually the best.
Like Victor said, this was not a strong opening song to me. Right away, I was like, ooh, I was hoping for a better opening statement. This is repetitive. I don't think it's particularly great. I don't think it's particularly anthemic. I feel like it's trying to be, but yeah, it's no I Love New York City by Andrew WK, which is fine. She's not supposed to sound like Andrew WK. And that song is just kind of very basic and repetitive too, but it's so fun, and that's an anthem. It's basic, it's boring, but it's anthemic, and this is just kind of welcome to New York. Like it's like if you wanted to write, it's like the Shy Kid trying to write an anthem and like trying to be like, I wrote the anthem, guys, but not like fully committing to it. And I didn't even like catch the gay lyrics until I think like my last time listening to it. So on that note, I would say the song isn't even gay enough. Like if you're gonna go gay, like make it fun, like B-52 it up or something. Like it doesn't do anything it's trying to do. It's not anthemic. It's not a good intro opening track. It's not a good anthem. It's not a good song like this represents New York City. It's not a good gay anthem. And yet it's in the top half on the album. So I don't know, man. This album broke me, man. 1989, such a great year. Such a not good album.
This is truly the rise to it of the Taylor Swift catalog.
This isn't a great song.
Sorry, it is the best song, but not according to this ranking. Next up on the list, a song that Mike gave 2 points to, You Are in Love, is next on the list. Not to be confused with This Love, which you gave 1 point to. Mike, how's your love life going? Do you have something to tell us?
Oh, well, I mean, the love life is dude. My soulmate is a dog. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I always wanted to end up with a woman and find love, but I guess this dog will do. Cool. No, yeah, it's funny because I saw that at the bottom. Like, wow, you are in love. This love, like, wow, I really seem like I hate love. I don't like. I'm a sucker for a great ballad. These just aren't it. You are in love ranked above this love for me because this love was just so boring. You are in love had at least a little bit more going on. I thought it was a little bit more memorable, a little bit more like a hook in there. Still not great. Still wasn't like, I mean, I'm an '80s rock guy, so like I love a big old power ballad. But these just weren't. These weren't awesome power ballads to me. They weren't even like to me. They weren't even good like sappy teenage love songs. Like, I'm not even the demographic for a sappy teenage love song, but like I can respect one when I hear it. And again, these just weren't any of that. They weren't great love songs. They weren't catchy. Like, I don't even know what was going on. I don't even know what was going on. Like, you asked me if there was something wrong with my love life. What's wrong with Taylor? What was at least wrong with Taylor Swift's love life? That this was like her versions of love songs at the time.
Actually, I am not an expert in the lore, unfortunately, so I don't know who she was dating around the time of this album. Hashtag fake nerd girl.
One of their names is in one of the songs. You at least know that one.
I know that
What's
one.
the title of the song?
Yes.
Probably starts with a J.
No.
Jesus?
Jesus?
Jerry Styles?
Jerry Seinfeld? I mean, he does go after younger women.
Not this again.
She was a little old by this point.
Yeah.
What was it, Leo? How she was what? Yeah, she was like 23. That was like right at the cutoff, right?
Yeah, it should have been Leo.
I gave this 5 points, so this is one of the bonus tracks. And the thing is, most of the albums that we've done for these Taylor Swift episodes, I've listened to the album once a day at work. 1989 was the one where I had the most familiarity with it, where I didn't need to. And also, as an album, I also didn't want to listen to it once a day. So that is the damning commentary on that album, where just like, oh yeah, I'll listen to Red once a day. Like, 1989, I don't know if I want to listen to that every day. But the bonus tracks, like there was a couple tracks where I wasn't as familiar with them, so I did force those into my brain, this being one of them. Some of the bonus tracks I knew, this wasn't one of them. And it's fine. I get the sentimentality behind it. It feels sincere. Like this feels like the boring Taylor Swift songs that she's like really into. So I think that she likes this song a lot. And I'm glad that she likes it a lot. And I don't dislike it, but there's just better songs on the album. Julia, you gave this 4 points.
Proper stop.
The album, I'm not, I think Clean.
Clean, the Imogen Heap song.
Oh, don't say that. That's disrespectful to Imogen Heap.
I know. I feel a little disrespected. Like, I love some Imogen Heap, but
that just felt like rubbing a cat backwards.
I think she
so bad.
She tried her best,
Yeah, that's true.
But even Imogen Heap could not overcome the void that is Taylor Swift.
It's true. This song, I actually think I meant to put it. It's right below This Love. I think I did mean to put them in the reverse order, but I just forgot which song was which. And that's okay. That's allowed. I think the chorus of this song is okay, but the verse is probably my least favorite. Along with all of the others that are below it, which are also my least favorite. But just it's so repetitive. It goes on for a really long time. It feels eternal. And it's just the da 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 da. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna find everyone responsible for this, and I'm going to set their cars on fire one at a time. I
just make sure it's not Elon Musk, otherwise you will be considered a domestic terrorist.
I probably already am.
Yeah, do you think you can get to his cars before they set themselves on fire?
Oh, so wait, does that mean Elon Musk is a domestic terrorist?
Wait, which
True,
song
yeah,
features "I
honestly,
Set My Friends on Fire"?
Looking into this.
yeah, we should probably explore that further. Yeah, I think this song is bad. This song is bad. This song is bad. For the real heads who love this love. I do remember that song. I wish I didn't. I had to look up the lyrics and only then was able to slowly jog my memory as to which one that is.
Shall I go?
Go.
Until Julia hummed it for us, I couldn't remember it at all.
Gave it 7 points.
And I guess it got extra points above This Love because seeing the title didn't immediately make me think of 2 other songs, one of which is by Taylor Swift and not called This Love. So it's just barely not in the top half of this album.
Steve, you surprisingly gave this 9 points, considering it's a slow and boring ballad. So what the heck?
So I've been trying to save up all my bullshit for this moment. So Kurt Vonnegut served as an Allied soldier during World War II, where he was eventually captured and taken to Dresden, where he survived the bombing of Dresden, which is one of the more brutal and ruthless Allied campaigns of that war, resulting in 25,000 casualties on the Axis side. Later on, when he became a writer, he was asked on a couple of occasions, Greg knows what's good, he just left. He was asked on a couple of occasions if he was ever intended to write about his experiences in the war, and he always seemed to have trouble determining exactly how to express what he went through. So eventually he wrote Slaughterhouse-Five, which tells the story of another young soldier serving in the war who gets captured, taken to Dresden, survives the bombing, and then is abducted by aliens who put him in a zoo for several years and teach him to be disconnected from time. So he experiences his entire life in a nonlinear state, disconnected from reality, and this gives him a sort of distance and disaffectation that I think is what Vonnegut was trying to express, is that he feels this sense of like numb distance from the events of the war, that he can't truly internalize them and process them because they were so traumatic. And this is most commonly expressed in a recurring refrain throughout the book, which is cited to be a Jewish benediction, that when somebody dies or you learn that somebody has died, you just have to accept it and move on and say, and so it goes. So every time somebody is mentioned as dying in this book, which covers a man's entire lifespan, including World War II, lots of people die, obviously, so that comes up every time with a narrator injecting, and so it goes every time someone is mentioned as being dead. This song, Greg and I have butted heads about this in that I want Taylor Swift to write interesting stories in her songs, and Greg says Taylor Swift can't write songs about space aliens all the time. She's a country musician. And she was so close to writing a song about space aliens with this one. All of her Gentile fans, if they recognize the reference, are gonna be like, "Hey, Vonnegut, I like that book." But yeah, no, she just wrote another forgettable Taylor Swift pop song, and I put it in the middle because it wasn't offensive. I was just disappointed.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Exactly. That is really the story here. And so it goes.
Yeah, no, I just didn't want my facial expressions captured during all that entire spiel.
Now I'm curious as to what facial expressions you anticipated having.
Laughing at things way too dark.
Version of this stream where then you release the recording of your facial expressions.
Greg's version coming soon.
Greg's RBF.
Did we get everybody on You Are in Love? I think we did. So, and next up on the list is possibly the goofiest vocal in the entire Taylor Swift catalog, which is impressive. It is a bonus track we've got Wonderland. That's on the list. Um, that that ending vocal phrase is a choice. Definitely some Rihanna and Katy Perry influence here in terms of the vocal delivery. As far as songs about Wonderland, I'm always going to negatively compare this to the excellent Japanese girl band. And when I say girl band, I mean like plays instruments, not just like a pop group. Japanese girl band Flip have a song called Wonderland. That's pretty dope. Which Steve has criticized, like the vocals are mildly pitchy, coming from a fan of pop music and Billy Corgan. Talk about pitchy vocals, so that's some Steve bullshit right there. But this song,
John Mayer song, "Your Body Is a Wonderland."
Ooh, is that?
Well, Boogie Wonderland. It's a jam.
That's a jam. But this song said like it's fine. I think it's very much the plastic pop of the era and not one of the better songs in the genre. But I do think it's well produced. I do think it's a good song. It's just not like it's not anything off of Teenage Dream, and it's not a Carly Rae Jepsen song of the era. Like it has that same sound, and it's actually pleasant enough to listen to in isolation, just not as good as its contemporaries. But I mean, I still think it's a good song, so I enjoy it. Let's see who. Victor, you also gave this the same number of points as me, but I don't think you like it. So you want to go next?
I should have given it more points, honestly, because it does fit. That it makes me laugh. It is funny. But the rest of the song isn't very good. So going Wonderland, can only buy you so much. And I know you're saying Katy Perry. I'm getting a lot of Marina and the Diamonds there, but maybe. But maybe, it probably was Katy Perry because they were such good friends with such
Right.
good blood.
I'm looking at this ranking, and Steve, you gave this 15 points. What the hell?
I sure did. Because I get why they left it on the cutting room floor, because it's one of those songs that had they released it, they distinctly might have been hit with a lawsuit. But yeah, it rips off Umbrella, which slaps. That's an amazing song. And it's one of those things where like it reminds you that I'd rather be listening to Umbrella, but I guess this is the next best thing. If I have to be listening to a Taylor Swift song, might as well listen to this one.
Might as well be listening to not Umbrella. I mean, Umbrella is a banger. I think. Do we have consensus across the panel that Umbrella is like a stone cold classic banger? Like,
absolutely one of the best pop songs ever released.
All right, Mike, do you agree that Umbrella is a banger? And also your comments on Wonderland.
Umbrella's okay.
Okay. Boo.
Pop bangers, that just isn't one for me. I would take SOS over Umbrella. I think it's called SOS.
Yeah.
The one that goes like SOS, but maybe that's the title. But no, Umbrella's fine.
I think that's Message in a Bottle.
Song. Not Message in a Bottle, the Rihanna song. Which you knew. Yeah, Wonderland, I don't know, it's okay. It's just another song that does a little bit on an album that doesn't do a whole lot. I'm looking at it too now, and I just re-listened to it just like a second ago, just a little bit to hear this weird vocal you were talking about. And as I was hearing it, I'm like, oh, maybe I ranked it a little low. I don't know. It could have gone a spot or two higher or something for me, but overall, I don't really have a whole lot of memories of it. Don't really care much about it. That's all I got for you, man. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Julia, what do you think about this tremendous vocal performance?
She says in this song that it's all fun and games until someone loses their mind, and I lost my mind before I even got to this one, and it did not make it better. I hate the pre-chorus a lot too. I know we're saying a lot about the Umbrella ass chorus, which I also think is dog shit. Yeah, you can't do the AA shit. Get out of here with that. But that part where she's all, didn't it all seem new and exciting? I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I like that part.
I don't think it's stop. it's bad.
All right, so next up we've got a song where I've got actually Steve and I are in alignment on this, and then Mike ranked it also pretty low, but the rest of you ranked it really high. Wildest Dreams is next on the list. I put it second from the bottom. Steve put it second from the bottom. I think we're both in the, yeah, this is like kind of like a slow and boring, and for me, like the chorus is a little bit grating. I don't necessarily like the melody of it, even though it's catchy. I mean, it seems to be one of her bigger songs. It seems like the fans really like it, but I just never vibed with this one as much. I don't think it's bad. Like, there is a big chasm between this and Bad Blood. Bad Blood does not pass the pasticcio barrier, B-nips. Bad Blood, like, I'll take Boomerang over Bad Blood. And we all know how I feel about Boomerang. Like, Bad Blood's just awful.
I mean, you're right about that, but for very wrong reasons.
But yeah, Wildest Dreams, it's actually a decent song, just I don't vibe with it as much. Steve, you ranked the second from the bottom. Why do you not vibe with this one?
Yeah, I also ranked it second from the bottom. The sort of slowness of it isn't as much of a deal breaker for me, I think, just because that's sort of what you expect out of a Taylor Swift album like this. It's, about the same pace as everything else. It's just these lyrics were so banal and cliche and bad. It just felt like she took all of her favorite lyrics and shuffled them up and stapled them back together and said, yep, good enough. And released that as like the second track on the album? No. That's on that's the Taylor's version. She decided it was supposed to have been the second track on the album all along. But no, it's deep in it's bad. It's bad.
Wait, they changed the track list on the Taylor's version, or did just the playlist you listen to change the track list in?
I think I'm looking at the listening that Genius.com lists.
I mean, that might just be someone messing it up.
Sorry, that's listing the Reputation Stadium Tour surprise song playlist.
That makes more sense.
I don't know what that even means.
I know what that
You
means.
could get off my lawn.
Mike, you gave this 5 points. I just assume slow, boring song you're just not that into.
Pretty much. So I was just quickly skimming it again just now to kind of. I barely even remember these songs, even though I've listened to all of them more than once. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of something I wanted to say, like just about this album in general. Like, so I have all these different rankings, but honestly, for most of these songs, we're talking about a fraction of a percentage difference. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like 14 and 16 or whatever are drastically different. Like, pretty much most of these could kind of be interchangeable. Because I had it on. I'm like, it's maybe a little bit better than I remembered. But again, on an album that I didn't really click with. But Steve, if you have not seen the music video, it might really vibe with you because it has a little bit of that time travel lead thing going on. She just kind of chose to go for like a World War II aesthetic. So I thought you might enjoy that because you like time traveling aliens in your music or whatever. And that's often been a criticism of Taylor Swift that we have.
That was the most flippant way you could have said that.
What'd you say?
That was the most flippant, dismissive way you could have said that. It was great.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was going for. But yeah, the Moody Blues song, "Your Wildest Dreams," is much better to me. So I'll just go with that one.
So Julia, you gave it 12, and Victor, you gave it 14. So why don't we go with Julia next, and then Victor, who ranked it pretty high, which I don't know if that means he likes her or not. We'll find out.
I think this is the cutoff of. There were 3 songs I think are like okay on this one, and from here down on my ranking, I think all of them are annoying and bad. I don't know. I think this one got as high as it did for me because I found it less annoying than pretty much everything I put below it. But all of them annoy me, if that helps.
This one I feel like if you had a someone with more vocal texture, and yeah, I mean, like, my thought was like, I can't remember her name, but the woman who does the Kingdom Hearts singles, like,
Utada
the
Hikaru.
song. Yeah, like, it might be okay. I don't hate this one, to be honest. I think there's something here. I don't know if Taylor is the one to do it, but
Just every Taylor Swift song would be better if it were simple and clean.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's all. This one feels like it could be salvaged.
Mike, this music video is just her being on a safari/film set. It's not even time travel.
No, there's more. There's more. Wait it out. No, I mean, I was also joking, dude. I wasn't
doing more images as it goes on, and it's like 1 or so every second, and they sort of come together to make a story that you can visualize because of the.
Yeah, I didn't literally think it would move you, Steve. I was just being flippant, as Greg said.
So, has anybody else ever listened to a full Utada album other than myself?
No, but I started looking them up the other day. So I was like, ooh, I gotta be getting some of these because we have a coworker who's really into J-pop.
So here's the funny thing about her albums. The songs for Kingdom Hearts are not what the rest of her albums are. She is like has the most vulgar, raunchy pop music. Like every other song is just about like the nastiest stuff. And then the Kingdom Hearts songs are just like, and here's my Disney song. It's great. Yeah. It is such tonal whiplash.
That's amazing.
Like stuff that would make Madonna blush, and just like, oh, you just put that in there. All right. Tremendous.
That's excellent news.
Yeah. So
is she singing it in English?
In English. Check out Dirty Desire. And if you want
that might just be the thing, is she's like, her audience speaks Japanese as a first language, so it's like, they don't know how dirty it is.
Just look up the lyrics for Dirty Desire if you want some Gene Simmons level lyricism. While everyone's looking that up on their smartphones, next up on the list is a song I ranked 3rd from the bottom because it sounds a lot like the next album we're going to be doing. And I don't like that one as much. I Know Places is next on the list. If you like this song, good news. That's what a good chunk of the next album is going to sound like. If you don't like this song, bad news. That's what a good chunk of the next album is going to sound like. Basically, side A of the next album is this song like 6 times in a row. So, but then side B is like, oh, she remembered how to be a singer-songwriter. Oh, thank God. So I wrote off Reputation when I first heard it because 6 songs in, it was all this kind of stuff. I'm just like, God, this album sucks. I'm done. And basically wrote off Taylor as an artist because of how bad the first half of Reputation was. And then the second half was like shockingly good.
Oh, we lost you, Greg.
Oh, can you hear me? Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
All right.
Yes.
So I was saying the first half of Reputation, shockingly bad. Second half, shockingly good. And this song, like I said, is that preview of like, this should have been at the end of the album as a bonus track, as an after credits teaser for the next movie, because that's what this song basically is. The thing is, I've come to understand the Reputation style of like what she's going for with this kind of song, where it's supposed to be like darker and edgier and doesn't succeed with being darker and edgy and just comes off as kind of cringe. But I mean, ultimately it's still catchy, which is the most important thing in Greg's world. So it's like, still enough of an earworm. Fine. 3rd from the bottom. Julia, you gave this 13 points. Does this mean you're going to love Reputation when we get to it?
I don't think so, but we'll find out, I guess. I don't know if I've listened to that album through all the way before, but there is a song off of there that I actually legitimately like. So I have hope that maybe there will be something there for me, but also I'm not hoping that hard because I also know it's Taylor Swift. So I set the bar really low. Maybe that's a sure way to get me to be less disappointed as time goes on. I I Know Places sure is a song. I think the reason I put it as high as it did is that it's more interesting than the other ones. I just feel like there's at least something going on. As far as I can tell, it's not just about like a breakup, which is pretty nice. So I'm fatigued on breakups and boyfriends. I don't know what the song is about, and I don't care. I'm just like happy for just something else on this. It's one that feels less generic. I think one of the least generic sounding ones on the record that overall has a very dull sound. So.
And Mike, you gave this 4 points. Are you so excited for Reputation now?
You tell me it's worse than this album, so no, it sounds like waterboarding. I Know Places. This is one where out of the 3 bonus tracks, those voice memos, not even saying this just to be snarky or like, haha, I got a zinger. I genuinely found those to be more interesting than some of the songs on this album. Like I'm not a songwriter myself, but I love music and I like hearing musicians talk about their idea process and songwriting process and stuff. And just some of those short little voice memo things about her ideas and how the songs came to be, I thought were more engaging than a lot of the songs on this album. So that's not a good sign that I probably like the I Know Places voice memo over the actual song itself. I honestly don't even remember the song right now. I was trying to pull it up. I probably will right when I hear it, but yeah, this is just what happened. I guess when you get this is a classic case of Rocky 3, where he just got too big, too successful, too famous, and he lost his eye of the tiger, man, and he got brutalized by Clubber Lang, and that's what this album sounds like. And then Mickey dies. This album sounds like Mickey dying and Rocky sobbing over his dead body.
So,
that's what this album is like.
So is Carly Rae Jepsen Clubber Lang, and did she murder Burgess Meredith?
This is the concept
with her bare hands.
Burgess Meredith. If I had to sit through 1989 multiple times just to get to the punchline of Carly Rae Jepsen murdering Burgess Meredith, you made it all worth it. Yes, I mean exactly. Carly Rae Jepsen was doing at least just fun, enjoyable pop music, and thank you. Exactly, great point. Carly Rae Jepsen is Clubber Lang. Yep, there we go. I don't know how that's wild. Only we could do that on this panel. Good for us. Good for us.
Good for us. Victor, you gave this 11 points. Is this song good?
It's goated, my friend. I don't really remember it. I was just looking up the lyrics. Oh, that sounds like stuff I love. Okay, yeah, this is the one where she talked about foxes, and foxes are cute. They're being hunted in the context of the song, but what is this song about? Yeah, this is probably fine. I would rather have an album of stuff that sounded like this than stuff that sounded like Welcome to New York, so bring on Reputation, I guess.
That's going to be great when everyone else is like, Reputation is great, and I'm just like, you know what? You guys are going to like all the bad songs in Reputation. I'm going to be really annoyed when the good songs rank low.
You're telling me there's a bunch of bad songs on a Taylor Swift album? I'll believe it when I hear it.
It's just to say, you intuitively believe it, but you're going to verify it when you listen to it. I will continue to believe it when I hear it.
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify.
Steve, you gave this 14 points. Are you pumped for Reputation?
Yeah, so speaking of how the thing that really made Carly Rae Jepsen like blow up and really turn out the great hits was working with the guy from industrial band Skinny Puppy. Greg and I have had a lot of back and forth over all of our episodes of this we recorded of like, are we judging the song? Are we judging this particular production of the song? What are we doing? And this is one that I ranked it in third place. just on the strength of the song, and then I'm listening to this and I'm like, man, this really, really sounds like this could be a Zealand Ardor song. And if only they would play it, it would be really, really good. I would absolutely love that. But as a Taylor Swift song, it's fine. I just want to hear the Swedish, you know, gospel metal band play it.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. Everyone has a Taylor Swift song like that. So next up on the list, drastic swing from Steve's ranking. So this one got only 6 points from Steve. Out of the Woods is next on the list. I think this is one of the bigger songs. Gets played at concerts. I've heard on the radio before. So I think you could classify this one as a hit. I like it. I gave it 12 points. I think it's catchy. I think it has good momentum. I think this is the, big, stupid pop that I think Mike was more wanting from this album. And seeing that it ranks a lot higher, I think he probably has a more favorable opinion towards it. But let's start with Steve. Why does the song suck?
Yeah, so this song is also emblematic of a lot of this album. I hate that chorus. That chorus sucks. I hate that annoying vocal loop thingy that's happening at the beginning. But there are several songs on this album that just have really catchy bridges, and this is one of them. So I would have ranked this one much lower, but it's saved entirely on the strength of that bridge. Otherwise, I probably would have had like bottom 4 at best.
I mean, that is a really good bridge, and that is something that Taylor Swift is generally acknowledged to be good at, is writing a good-ass bridge. And that's also generally acknowledged that is not her co-writer. She is the bridge person. Like, they all say
so
she's really...
came up with Fable Cry, and then they would write a song that would just have the best bridge in the world.
Yes, that would be the best bridge in the world. But, so, Julia, you gave this 9 points. What are your thoughts on Out of the Woods?
Trying to remember the bridge. I don't know. I think it's perfectly mediocre by Taylor Swift standards, which is bad by regular standards, but pretty good for her.
Victor, you gave it 12 points. Is this pretty good for her or pretty good for normal people?
I remember this one starting the most recent time that we were listening to the album and being like, oh, this is like, I don't know, this is not a complete nothing drum loop. Like, in more capable hands, you might get a more capable song. And it does get points for being funny. In the chorus, are we out of the woods yet? Ad infinitum. Are we out of the woods? Are we in the clear yet? Ad infinitum. Are we in the clear yet? Good. That's funny. That's a funny way to turn around that rhyme. I don't think she thinks it's funny, but I do.
And Mike, time to unmute yourself and let those giggles in while we get your thoughts.
Well, yeah, that's why I mute myself so I don't constantly make distracting noise. Or the dogs. No, stop. Yeah, they did not like me laughing at that. So yeah, I was thinking when we got to the song in the ranking, before Steve started talking, and then he said it perfectly. This song is emblematic. Guys, stop! I'm so sorry. This song is emblematic of the album. Because it's boring, it's not great, and it's just very kind of repetitive. And yet, as I'm looking at it, it's like in the top half of the album. It's one of the better songs on the album, and it's guys, stop here. It's just Are We Out of the Woods? Are We Out of the Woods? It's just so boring, and yet it's not good, and yet it's one of the best on the album. Like, what? That's not a good sign. How did it get to be this way? But yeah, and I think Victor nailed it too with just because when he was talking about how she was trying to be funny and clever, I'm like, oh, I missed that. And then the more he started talking, I'm like, he's being sarcastic. Yes, she's not trying to be funny or clever. That's just how it came to be. Just how it came to be. So yeah.
Well,
I
hey,
got a little distracted with the dogs there.
no, you're fine. And just so you know, they're not really coming through on the stream, so only stop them if they're
that's
annoying
good.
your
They are
neighbors.
piercingly loud here. They were the only thing I could hear. I couldn't even hear my own voice.
Yeah, they're on a different frequency, which is nice.
Okay, cool. Good for you guys.
So next up on the list, we have "I Wish You Would," which Julia and Victor ranked extremely low, gave it 3 points each, and then the rest of us were like, "Yeah, that's pretty good." So I gave it 11 points. Mike gave it 12 points. Alexis, who isn't here, gave it 13 points. Steve gave it 12 points. So Victor and Julia, why don't you tell us why the song is terrible, and then the rest of us will go.
Annoying.
Steve, your turn.
So annoying.
Well, that was awfully concise. I think this is another one that this is an opportunity to tell a story. It doesn't need to be about sci-fi bullshit, but if you're gonna name a song, I wish you would. You should have a fist fight in it, man. But otherwise, no. This is one of those ones that has a pretty good bridge compared to the rest of the song. And I do like those jangly new wave guitars. It is a very distinctly new wave affectation, and I'm generally a pretty big fan of that. So this is one of those sorts of songs that, if I were arranging the 3-song long EP version of this might make the cut. And I wouldn't mind hearing it in general in public, but I'm probably not going to put it on myself on purpose.
Yeah, I think this is a well-structured song. Like the good jangly guitars, like it's a good opening hook. The dynamics, the way that it builds throughout the song, where the chorus does feel very anthemic. You could see an arena of people singing along to this. So I think it's a fun pop song, well structured. Mike, what do you think about "I Wish You Would"?
Yeah, I mean, what I have here at number 5 or something. Yeah, I mean, I think it is one of the better songs on the album. For me, it's not an all-time Taylor Swift classic, but it's not bad. I mean, as much as I've been trashing this album, if this album was better overall, then I'm just so burnt out at this point. So now that we're at this song, I'm like, eh. But if this album was better overall, then I'd probably feel more favorable about this song right now. It's in line with what Taylor Swift does well, and what I think the general public likes about Taylor Swift. So I think highly enough about it. I think Steve also said it well, where he's like, if he was making a 3-song EP, although it looks like for me it'd be a 5-song EP, but it's better than Welcome to New York, so that's something. The one thing I did want to point out though that was just very strange and grating to me, and I don't know if it's a regional dialect issue, and I know we have a number of different regions on this panel, but not once but twice she says bottons, and that's weird to me because I always thought the word was buttons. But she very strongly pronounces that word as bottons. So I don't know if that's a Pennsylvania thing. I don't know if you guys do that out.
Yeah, that is a Pennsylvania, Ohio thing. So we have the same accent, unfortunately.
Okay, I guess I've just never heard you say bottons, Greg. But okay.
Yeah, well, now I'm gonna never say it.
Say what?
Buttons.
Well, the good news, Mike, is that pretty soon we'll be getting, like, most of your top songs are at the top of the ranking, so you'll probably be able to actually have some enthusiasm. But unfortunately, next one on the list is a song that you don't have enthusiasm for because you do not give a shit about Imogen Heap, because next up is Clean. And so you're just like, I don't care about their co-write. Song still sucks. Mike, what's your...
It literally was Imogen Heap, or a co-write or whatever.
Yes.
I thought you were just saying it was Imogen Heap-esque. I mean, hey, to its credit, I found it to be a more interesting song than You Are in Love or just This Love, and so that's why I ranked it above those. Ultimately, yeah, it still probably wasn't all that interesting to me. I like a little more bop in my pop, but it was interesting. I didn't know if there was there an actual story behind those lyrics, or was it just You gotta know if it's like someone they knew or someone Taylor Swift knew.
Well, this is literally about like a breakup and just like, oh, I've gotten past my addiction to you. Like this is a Taylor Swift breakup song.
About a friend like overcoming addiction. I thought her friend was like a heroin addict.
Nope, this is literally a. I mean, it is taking the concept of just like, getting clean, but then applying it to a relationship, which is the most Taylor Swift thing you could do with that that lyrical idea.
So maybe I unintentionally gave this song more credibility than I should have, or whatever. Because here I'm like, okay, she's being vulnerable. She's writing a much heavier song, which isn't even really always my thing. But I'm like, all right, respect. So yeah, this is now the worst song on the album.
I like the song, but I only gave it 6 points because I don't have the same affinity for Imogen Heap as everyone else on the panel or everyone on the bottom half of the panel. Like I think it's a fine song. I think it's a good closer for the album. I think the lyrics are good. I think it is kind of interesting that a lot of Taylor Swift fans who have had addiction issues have come to really appreciate the song. Uh, I find that to be just an interesting thing. But I mean, ultimately, it's catchy, so that's what matters to me. And I think that there's a couple songs on this album where there's hints of Taylor trying to figure out, like, how do I be a singer songwriter in the pop context? And I think this is one of those songs where she is trying a little bit harder to find her footing. And, to her credit, I think she finds it on Reputation. And then going forward, I think she finds that sweet spot of like, how do I have the depth I had during my country days, but in a pop package? I don't think she fully figured it out this album, but this is at least one of the attempts of figuring it out. Let's see here. Julia, you gave it 11 points. What's your thoughts on this one?
I mean, yeah, I didn't realize it was actually Imogen working on the song, but that makes sense because the song starts and like Victor and I both perked up. It's like, oh, finally, like interesting production. Like this one is like, I think this is the only one that counts as far as like me wanting to be surprised. This one actually does have the surprise.
She does backing vocals on it too.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I did because I don't really listen. So
did they break up?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Imogen Heap is a metaphor for drugs in this case.
Yeah, exactly.
Taylor Swift broke up with drugs.
That's where it lost points for me. I think it's really tasteless to write a song talking about a relationship, a romantic relationship, like it was substance abuse. I just like, which I know, like,
Counterpoint,
there's a lot
Kesha?
of songs about being like addicted to love, including the song.
Excuse me, Robert Palmer would like a word.
I was gonna say, Kesha, Your Love Is My Drug.
Like,
that one's great.
Those don't feel as gross. This one feels like there's something specifically about like, I don't know. It really rubs me the wrong way.
Huey Lewis needs new drug.
Well, I get where Julia's coming from though, because like those songs, it's clearly they're talking about love or sex or whatever. Like this one, I thought was about actual drug use. So like yeah, clearly, yeah.
As like a genuine, like I've recovered from something. Like I don't know, and I'm like,
it's true. This portrays drugs and the relationship in a wholly negative light, whereas most of those songs are like, yeah, I like to party with this person whose genitals I'm into, and also drugs.
Yeah, exactly. They do both. I don't. Yeah, like it sincerely lost points once I was like looking at the song and figuring out what it was about. It made me unhappy, even though the song itself I don't think is actually that bad.
Victor, I want you to know that even in your absence, we have continued to reference that the backing vocals are always being provided by Taylor Swift's current and/or ex-lover, who that song is about.
Yeah, and I'm excited to be able to do that some more as we get other tracks here. It's amazing how many points you'll get from me just by going beep boop boop beep beep boop beep boop beep beep boop beep boop beep beep boop. Wait a minute, that kind of pops. Yeah, I didn't know it was actually Imogen Heap. That makes a lot of sense because I was like, the production of this song is really good, and that's odd. um, yeah, I think "Speak for Yourself" is like maybe a top 10 album all time for me. Um, this one, not quite so much, but it does have this song, which if you just get rid of those lyrics and whatever that melody is, you got kind of a little thing you can kind of bop around to. It's nice.
Been left to her own devices, it would actually be a really good song.
Yeah.
Swift had to, again, like every time she collaborates with someone I like, they make a bad song. But I bet if it were inverse, where she featured on one of their songs, it might not be as bad.
Like we weren't here to talk about it, but I think actually her and Gary Lightbody's voices sound very good together.
Hard disagree.
Yeah.
You mean Gordon Lightfoot?
Gordon Lightfoot. My apologies.
Yes.
Where she sings with Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah, I knew what you were talking about. But like, oof, that's like one of the. Yeah, no, I hate that. The visceral disgust you have towards most of the catalog is how I feel about that track.
Incredible. But yeah, this one, you know, there's some Taylor Swiftiness on it, but like, there's a bop in there. This one's salvageable.
So, speaking of bops, or no, Steve needs to go because you ranked this number one.
I did rank this number one because the worst Imogen Heap song, even being ruined by Taylor Swift, is better than most of the best Taylor Swift songs.
You're here.
Although this really is a Taylor Swift song featuring Imogen Heap, but yeah, like Imogen Heap does miles to push this above its peers.
Is it really featuring Imogen Heap if you look at the credits and Taylor Swift like wrote the lyrics and then Imogen Heap did everything else?
Is that how the credits of it go? I wasn't entirely sure.
I didn't look at it, but I saw a lot of words next to Imogen Heap's name and not a lot next to Taylor's. So Taylor Swift did lead vocals and background vocals. Imogen Heap did programming, drums, percussion, vibraphone, background vocals, keyboards, and Mabira. And then they were both songwriters.
I mean, it really depends. So if you look at, let's say, Lipstick 2.
Imogen was a recording engineer.
So probably Taylor Swift showed up with a song that she'd written on her acoustic guitar, and Heap, did most of it from there.
She went beep boop boop.
With enough tweaks, yeah, and on the beep boop boops and enough tweaks to say like, okay, she gets a songwriting credit.
I mean, as think about the Lipstick 2 process, where I didn't necessarily play instruments on the album, but I definitely was a major creative force, for better or for worse. I can see how the process would have gone, where Taylor could still be a main contributor in the songwriting process, and it's not just like Imogen Heap wrote everything, and then Taylor and I sang it. Here's my credit.
She didn't even play the Mabira on her own album.
I mean, I didn't play the Mabira on my own album. Fake musician.
Swift says she wrote most of the song in interviews. She interviewed an Elle magazine saying she wrote it while walking around Liberty in London about someone she used to date, that she realized she'd been clean of him for 10 months.
Neat.
I buy it.
Talk to me when it goes beep boop boop boop.
Right, exactly. And she brought in some to do the beep boop boops, and it got way better.
And she not only did she bring someone in, she brought one of the best beep boop boops.
One of the best beep boopers.
I'm still waiting for that. I'm waiting for the Taylor Swift R2D2 collab. That's the one I'm waiting for.
I realize, guys, that we collectively keep talking about how this album goes beep boop boop, and that's one of the most favorable things we're saying about it. That's not good. That's not good.
When Victor specifically said that he liked the drum loop of one of the songs, the drum track, I was like, wow, we are scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel with I mean, it really takes a lot of work for most of these songs for me to find anything nice to say about them.
I like most of this album. I like most of these songs.
Bring them in.
Okay, I would love to hear a Kraftwerk Swift collab. That would be very interesting. See, yeah, like Kraftwerk does so much
Craftler?
interesting
Oh, let's not call her
stuff.
Craftler.
I'm still waiting on the Taylor Swift AXCX collab. That's what I'm waiting for.
Hell yeah. That's probably not going to happen because the guy from that band is dead. Has been for years now.
AI.
AICX?
That is the best joke on this episode. So next up on the list, we have The Cream, Rise Into the Middle, where I don't think any of us want this song to be this high. And it's actually mainly this high because of Alexis, who isn't here. Where this is her number one. All you had to do was stay is next on the list. Alexis, in the comments later, let us know why this is the best song on the album. I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's a catchy enough song. I think some of the vocal production on the chorus is a little bit annoying, which is why it doesn't rank higher for me.
A little bit.
A wee bit. But I do think it's still a good song and it doesn't ruin it for me. I give it 10 points. So I'm the next highest on this of everyone on the panel. So it's fine. Let's see. Steve and Mike both gave it 7 points. So why don't we go Steve and Mike and then Victor and Julia, who are 9 and 8 points respectively.
So I think I mostly docked this 1 points just because I don't buy it. I mean, I double checked Range Planet, and they say that she fairly consistently hits that high note in the chorus, including a couple songs where she hit higher notes. But I am not convinced that this is an actual thing that she sang. It might just be something that she just worked on hitting that note a whole bunch of times until she squeaked something out and they could tighten and tune it up and copy paste it. But it's a generally unmemorable song besides that one bit where like, nah, I think you're just lying.
So a Greg vocal take.
And you would do 3 or 4 words in a run at minimum.
Thanks, bud. Mike, what are your thoughts on this one?
Probably just like a nicer way of what Steve said, where it's an okay-ish Taylor Swift song in general. But yeah, I kind of have a love-hate with that high stay because it's kind of annoying, but it's also kind of makes it a little more interesting. So, yeah, it's a Taylor Swift song.
High praise.
Guys, I mean, genuinely, I feel like I'm someone who has really tried to be in Taylor Swift's corner. Like, I like kind of being the annoying guy, at cookouts or whatever, where they're like, Taylor Swift sucks, she ruined football. And I'm like, actually, she has this many great songs, or, whatever. Like, I really want to be in her corner, at least, realistically so. Like, I want to at least recognize good music when I hear it. But she really did me dirty with this album, and I'm concerned about the future as well.
All right, so Victor, Julia, what are your thoughts on this one?
It's interesting, Steve, that you looked that up, because my assumption was that they were deliberately making it sound fake.
I thought so too. I was trying to make that sound good.
I thought it was like we were specifically taking a recording of her singing this at a lower pitch and then hitting it on the sampler.
I actually thought that too. I thought that was a deliberate choice.
For what I assume was like, musical effect. But for me, it got the extra points because it's funny.
Or it could have been like what Vinnie Vincent did, which was really stupid, where he recorded for the Vinnie Vincent Invasion album, he recorded all the guitars regular speed, all the guitars double speed, all of them half speed.
We lost Greg, but I assume that he's saying that what he really wants out of Taylor Swift is an album where it's mono, hard pans to the left, and it was clearly recorded with a single microphone into a tape recorder into her dressing room.
Yes, but I was talking about the first Vinnie Vincent Invasion album, where the guitars were recorded in the stupidest way possible. Recorded them at regular speed, recorded them twice as fast, and then slowed the tape down, and then played it at half speed, and then sped the tape up, and then put all those guitar tracks together for his guitar sound. And it's just like, that is so stupid. I love it. So that's just what I'm assuming she did with the vocals here.
Yeah, I mean, again, this one is it's just another annoying one. And I think this one is really emblematic of what I'm talking about. And I say, like, this is just generic. Like, pop can be fun and pop can be interesting. And the people who are doing it, like, around you have all figured that out for the most part. Like, with varying success, and it comes and it goes, sure. But, like, I don't know. I don't want to be too hard on it for, like, this is her first foray into this world where everyone else has so much expertise, but there's a whole world of people with expertise around you. Where are those people? What is this? Like, yeah, and now I'm really confused. Was that not just a really bad sample of her going? Because that's what she sounds like.
I mean, how much of this album do we blame him on Max Martin for not doing a better job?
I do blame Max Martin. I'm like, what's up, dude? Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with everyone working on this?
I think you hit the same frequency as Mike's dogs there, because Discord.
I didn't hear it either. Okay, I didn't know if I had old man ears or what was going on. Okay, yeah, there was nothing came out, but I just knew what you were doing.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was pretty faithful to the song. I hit it at like 1/4 capacity, so that way it didn't have enough vocal support, because that's how she kind of goes too. Which, again, like, no tea, no shade, but you just don't need to put it like in a whole song and keep sampling that and using that sample over and over. But, like, I feel like, in a sense, like, yeah, Mike, to what you were saying, this song does have technically a surprise in it, but it's a bad surprise. It's not a surprise I want. Like, that's not what I'm talking about when I say I want to be, like, surprised. I meant in an exciting way. Like, I want to be like, ooh, what did you do there? Which I did feel with Clean. And then for this song, I found it less annoying than Out of the Woods, but more annoying than How You Get the Girl. And that's just, I mean, we're talking just like fractions on fractions, but that's where we ended up for me.
And Julia, you said that you're like, well, I don't want to be too hard on her with this being her first foray into this style. It isn't, though. She definitely had a few tracks like this or in this style on Red. So, like, they should have had the
pop artist. Like, you understand the material. Like,
they should be more polished by this point at doing this well. Yeah.
And I also feel like if you're gonna try like changing genres, like, and really leaning into it, like, really lean into it. Where, like, nothing about this sounds to me like someone who's just genuinely excited to explore the pop space. And I don't want to say that she isn't. Like, I'm sure she was, obviously. Well, she's excited about all the money she could make by being a pop artist and finally expanding her audience, because, you know, no one likes country. Except for all of us who did like country and accepted her as she was, and were like, yes, Miss Taylor, you speak for the people. And then now she's just like, okay, time to change genres and lose those people, because they fucking suck, I guess. Those clowns who were supposed to be the authentic Taylor.
Well, the problem is those fans have grown up. She needed new 13-year-olds to listen to her music.
Oh god, my audience actually out-matured me, even though I'm like 7 years younger than her or something. Yeah, I did outgrow her. I was like, I need you to write songs like an adult, please. Like, cat. But like, more than that, I'm like, again, I know, like, in her mind, she's probably like, this is fun, like, let's do something different. But I don't get that sense of like true, like, enthusiasm and passion in this record. I do not feel like she's actually using all of the fun tools that pop gives her, but she's using all the most annoying tools that pop gives her. And again, this goes for her collaborators too, minus Imogen. Like, y'all, like, this is embarrassing. It's not fun. Pop can be fun. Lady Gaga's out here making fun music. What's wrong with you? Okay, Red One and Taylor Swift collaboration. Let's fucking go. Then you get some gay shit. Like, Lady Gaga music is gay and fun. Lady Gaga's already here for you.
So I'm actually not that into Lady Gaga. I think it's her music is all just okay, at least from what I've heard. I think she's very talented, but there's not a single Lady Gaga song I was like, that is an essential song in my playlist.
There's not a single song?
Not one there, but I think there's a bunch of songs that I'm like, that's fine, but there's not anything that like I ever say I'm going to choose to listen to this Lady Gaga song, or if I hear it on the radio, I will not switch the station.
Yeah, that's wrong. I could see a full album if you're like, I'm not, you're not dedicated to a full Lady Gaga album, but like, yeah, she.
Like even the song from Top Gun, I'm just like, this is fine to listen to once.
I don't know if I know that one.
One of the consistent things that comes up whenever we get in the car and put on a Taylor Swift album is most people in the world have a choice of what they can listen to at well, maybe not most people in the world. Most people in, our big, same, place in, like, country and get to choose what music they listen to. And the fact that anybody ever chooses to listen to 1989 is completely baffling to me. Like, and frankly, most Taylor Swift stuff. Lady Gaga is so much better, it's ridiculous.
I mean, this album is really like the Kiss album Destroyer for me, where I never listen to it straight through, but there are a bunch of songs that I do listen to from the album that wind up in my rotation. So, I mean, I do like a bunch of songs from this album, and actually, next up on the list is a song that is in my rotation quite regularly that ranked pretty high. Julia, you gave this 15 points, so it's good you have the microphone, because next up is New Romantics.
Yeah, I was like, this is basically like a deleted Carly Rae Jepsen song. I think this one's more fun than the other ones. I would love it if someone else sang it. I think it would be better for me and my sanity if someone else took the reins from her, but I ranked it as high because I was like, oh, if someone I actually like as a performer took this one away, I think it's a perfectly fine pop tune.
Yeah, although lyrically, it is very much a Taylor Swift lyric through and through.
It's true, yeah. I just don't listen to the lyrics.
That's Victor's superpower also. Victor, you gave this 10 points. What are your thoughts on this one?
This is another one that I can't really remember, but while we were listening to it, I was kind of thinking similarly, like, oh, this is salvageable. Like, there's a song in here at least. That's nice.
Steve, you gave it 8 points. Is there a song in here?
No, this one just I ranked it in the low mids just because it didn't do anything particularly annoying, but it just felt like filler to me. Every time I try to think about it, I'm like, wait, isn't New Romantics that band that had that Get What You Give song? Or no, or this is the lead single from the first New Pornographers album. Oh wait, no, that's Mass Romantic from the New Pornographers. And I just think about better music and I'm like, I could be listening to Nico Case right now.
Oh,
that would be a better life.
So rather listen to Nico Case.
That would be a better life choice.
Can we please talk about Nico Case instead? Please.
Mass Romantic is a banger of an album, start to finish.
So fucking good. Please, Nico Case, save us.
Meanwhile, Mike, you gave this 15 points. Is this a good song?
I mean, yeah, if I'm not just gonna keep ragging on this album, I guess it's a good song. Although now that I'm like, wow, is this really my second favorite? Maybe it's a little high, but it's also maybe it's not, and maybe that's just what I think of this album. But the nice thing about it was a breath of fresh air. Coming in way late, and you're already so fatigued with this album, and then you get this, and you're like, oh, okay, and it's also kind of frustrating though, because you're like, well, this is easily better than a lot of the songs that made it to the main album, so why is this a bonus track? But that's just kind of that's pretty much always my take with artists choosing, like, we didn't think this was good enough to make the album. And then
but here's the weird thing: this became a single and got a music video.
Yeah, I mean, and in the scope of this album, fair enough. Like, this is single and music video territory for this album. Although, how many music videos did this album have? It seems like every song got a video. Like, there's a lot of videos from this album, which is fine. You know, she's big and successful, and that's what they do, even in the 2010s. Um, yeah, and yet I'll be honest with you, I can't even sing it to you right now. But I remember, I think I had it a few spots lower right before sending my ranking to you, and then I realized that I was probably giving a little bit of unfair bias to Style and Blank Space just because I've known of those for years and have some positive, unrelated life memories with those songs just kind of existing in the background. But I actually probably think New Romantics is just structurally a better song than those, so I bumped it up all the way to number two. But yeah, I mean it's a top five easily from this album, and I guess that kind of says what I think of the album. That a top five song I can't even recite back to you right now.
So we had Steve's bullshit earlier. It is time for Greg's bullshit about New Romantics. So one of the main lines of the song is the best people in life are free. And so that immediately makes me jump to Freemasonry and how you are unable to become a Freemason if you were ever in servitude. And so is this song about the Freemasons? Is Taylor Swift a Mason? Is that why she is so powerful? Is Taylor Swift Illuminati? I'm just asking questions. That's all I'm doing, just asking questions. Anyway, the song bops. Any other comments before we move on? All right, so we are in the top three. Next up on the list is a song that was originally rumored to be written. And, I'm going to just say it. Next up is Blank Space, which I ranked as number one. So I can't find the source anymore, and it might have just been an internet rumor, but I really hope it's true. So this is ranked as my number one. I do think it's the best song. Not necessarily my favorite, but I think it's sort of like an undeniable, strong pop hit, which I'm sure some people will deny. And by some people, I mean Steve. So I heard that the inspiration Taylor had to write this song was watching Death Note. And then, of course, turn it into a song about, like, your little black book about exes. And so making it less cool. So you're like, yeah, that does sound par for the course of Taylor Swift. Same with like Clean, like an interesting lyrical concept, and then making it about relationships instead and less interesting. And, you think, oh, well, that's probably just like an internet rumor. But what makes it sound more true, which I can't find the source, and I've been trying to find the source, and it might not be true, but it was specifically the live action Netflix adaptation of Death Note and not the anime. And I could definitely see Taylor Swift watching the trashy Netflix adaptation of Death Note and thinking, this is some cool shit, not having watched the anime. Haven't seen a little bit of Grey's Anatomy now. I'm like, I can see where this would vibe with her psyche at that point. And she would be inspired to write this song. But all the joking aside, it is a great song. It's really catchy. And this is Taylor, I think, for both better and for worse, playing with the idea of what Taylor Swift the celebrity means, which everyone assumes, oh, she's just that girl who writes songs about her exes. And she leaned into that hard, which she thought she was being clever by doing, but if anything, just reinforced the negative stereotypes people had about her songwriting and really cemented that as her image for an entire subset of the population, where they still say that's all she writes songs about, which is not true. In the same way that, like, you can say Kiss only writes songs about sex. Well, it's like, yes, and it's also believing in yourself and sometimes swords and fantasy for one album. That's how Taylor Swift is. She has some songs that are not about that subject, but there's more depth to her than that. So I ranked it number one. I think it's a good song. Steve, you ranked it at the bottom. Why don't you go next? Is the song about Death Note?
No, the inspiration for the song is Lord's album. Clearly, just so patently, transparently, Lord came out of nowhere, released an album that everybody praised as being this amazing, personal minimalist thing, and Taylor Swift said, I want one of those. And so she got her production team together and they did a knockoff Lorde song, and it sucks because it takes all the, intense authenticity of a teenage girl just getting into music and making the space her own, and makes it this awful commercialized thing full of, I guess Wikipedia says they're pen clicking sounds, but they just sound like gross lip smacks. It's bad. It's a bad song. I hate it.
Victor, you look like you're chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
Greg, I have terrible news about the only thing that made this song good. Death Note, the movie, came out 3 years after the.
No! It's all falling apart.
No, this song's okay. It's basically. It's basically what it is okay. I thought I had more, and I started gathering words, and that's what came out.
Then when you got into it, you realized there's nothing there. It's vapid and bad and derivative.
Of course, it gets everywhere.
Yeah.
Julia, go ahead.
I feel like if you were gonna write a song inspired by Death Note, it'd be better than, like, it'd be cooler. It would have to be cooler. There's no way she's a Death Note fan. Come on. Okay. Here's my thing with this album is I tried to go in and just be like, okay, I can't have all of my criticisms just be I hate the sound of her voice, and I can't just have it be I hate that her lyric material is childish. And I also can't have it be that the fucking call is coming from inside the house, lady. But unfortunately, I can only avoid that for so long, and I do have to go to the call is coming from inside the damn house, lady. I agree that, like, Taylor Swift gets unfairly maligned by a lot of people for things that are fairly standard practice for, like, songwriting, and I think obviously she gets a lot of extra flack for being a woman and just, like, having a normal dating life. I never disagreed with that. I've never been like Taylor Swift dates too many people. I don't agree. She has a completely normal dating life. However, her whole career is based on her writing an album's worth of songs for every man that she dates for more than a week, as if they had deep, meaningful, long-term relationships. Every single relationship. And she chooses to release all of these songs. All of them. She always releases all of the fucking songs. She puts all of them out. And she teases who they are. She wants her fans and her listeners to play along at home and keep track of all of these different relationships, all of these different boyfriends, and like put their names in the songs, tease their names in the lyrics, do all that, like pay attention, come, like build a parasocial bond with me, won't you? Like she entices the listener to do this. She wants you deeply invested in her life and her personal relationships. And it makes it feel to the listener, or at least to me, it makes it feel like she has a lot more relationships than she actually has. She has a completely normal dating life, but has like blown it out of proportion to make it feel just like a lot more than what is actually there. And that's her own doing. She's the one writing, releasing these songs. She's the one calling all this extra attention to it. You don't have to tell us like who each song is about. You don't have to make it this game with your listeners that it's like which one of my celebrity boyfriends is this song about? I put like 8 different little clues in the music video and in the lyrics and in the little booklet. Like, you don't have to do those things, and I actually think it's bad to do this. And it's like, but for her, it's her marketing ploy. This is how she keeps people coming back and like getting all of her physical releases, because it's like, oh, maybe there's another clue about Harry Styles. One Direction fans can now get in on this because it's like, maybe we'll find little Harry Styles clues. So for her to then be like, oh, the critics are saying I date too much, like, she's not entirely wrong. But a lot of this is your own device. This is your own marketing ploy. You don't, like, you have chosen to be like this with how your music is written, how it's released. Like, this is your idea. You are the one in charge of this. Like, for you to then be like, oh, everyone's so mean to me about all my boyfriends. You make it feel like you have all these boyfriends, and you want me looking at all your boyfriends. You could just be like, I'll write like love songs, but they're gonna be a little bit like vague and coy about like who it's about, and like it doesn't all have to literally. She's so literal. She thinks the way to be personal is to literally use her real life, put clues from her real life in the music, and then get mad if people are like this feels like a lot. It's like you don't have to be so fucking literal. Songs can be personal without being like, this one's about Harry Styles. I put Harry Styles' name as the title. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. All this to say, I hated the song when it came out. I've made my peace with it at this point. I think it's fine.
I was like, yeah, still it's like third place.
Yeah, third place. Third place, pretty good.
I mean, that's a lot of
having Julia on this podcast.
Yeah, we really needed that. We still need to have the Clash of the Titans.
That monologue was definitely why I was like, that's what we've been wanting. That's what we've been asking Julia to come back for. Yeah.
We need to have that Alexis Julia Clash of the Titans the fans have been waiting for.
I tried to keep it at bay because I feel like otherwise my own critiques are going to get as repetitive as this goddamn album is. Like I'm just going to sound like one of the horrible loops. I'm gonna sound like Welcome to New York all of a sudden if I just keep saying you may have noticed this whole time I haven't been like, she can't sing, by the way. Wouldn't it be cool if someone could sing and they put out music instead? And I was listening to music by people who could sing, or like she doesn't care. Like I've said in all of these albums lately, like she's not creative. She has no artistic enthusiasm. She's not driven. I have kept all of that shit at bay because I didn't want it to get boring. But I cannot sit by and listen to Blank Space with her being like, oh, these critics are so mean about the thing that I draw so much extra attention to. I cannot abide this, Taylor.
So, Julia.
Inside the house. It's you.
Julia, are you saying that a woman was asking for it?
I can't sing. What was she wearing?
She was wearing a shirt that said, all of
me about my 6
all
boyfriends.
The comments about my various boyfriends are drawing a lot of attention away from my shirt, which says, stop talking about all of my boyfriends. Here's their names.
Stop talking about Jake Gyllenhaal, John Mayer, Harry Styles. Just...
Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm starting to wonder. I have a conspiracy theory. You were wondering if Taylor Swift is a Freemason. I'm starting to wonder if Alexis is sitting at home or out and about, perfectly healthy, and just didn't want to deal with Julia today, and that's why she's not on the panel. So I'm throwing out that conspiracy theory. I want to kind of build up the beef between them for when we eventually get it.
Scared. She doesn't want to face the truth.
Yeah, but this is one of those songs that was just kind of ubiquitous back in that time period. I just remember just kind of randomly hearing it, wherever, because it was a big song. And it's one of those songs where, like, I'm not the target audience for it, but I get it. When that song, I'm like, okay, this is what Taylor Swift does. This is what she's about. This is what her fans like about her. That it's her going pop and commercial and everything. Like, okay, like it's cool. So I like it, and I just have pleasant memories of it in general. I guess I just having good times with friends back then, and I don't know why Blank Space was playing in the background, but I guess it was. So yeah, I don't have any like really personal attachment to it, but good. I'm cool with it. But there's only so much. I would say though, too bad the whole album isn't songs of this, like this, but. You couldn't do a whole album of songs like what you could, but it would be terrible. It still kind of has that like.
Mike is not a Lorde fan.
Songs like this, if you were Lorde.
Yeah, I've never listened to a whole Lorde album, so until we do a Lorde panel, I don't plan to. But yeah, for a few songs or whatever, just kind of sparse, loopy kind of sound, it can stand out a little bit. But I think after a while, it would just be, as we kind of realized, after a while, you burn out on the loops, guys. You burn out on the loops. But blank space is cool. I'm cool with blank space.
You burn out of the loops. Toucan Sam is finally clean.
Nice. Well done.
Clean was about Toucan Sam and Fruit Loops. I would put it number one, no question. I asked for so little. Just make one song that's genuinely funny and not just like funny in the blank space tongue-in-cheek way. Make
Imogen
one
Heap.
really fun song.
Imogen Heap would find a way to turn Toucan Sam into some kind of boutique synthesizer, and it would be tremendous.
So we're at the number 2 song on the ranking, and this is a song that I think has a actual good vocal performance. Like, not just like good as in like ha ha ha, but like there are actually some vocal runs that I think are legitimately impressive as a singer. Shake It Off is next on the list. And I'm not talking about the rap section. I'm talking about some of the vocal runs, not the rap section. I'm actually impressed with Taylor as a vocalist on this song. I think she has greatly improved as a singer between albums. And I think this is like some of the notes she hits and the power and emphasis behind the notes, I think is actually pretty good during the vamps towards the end of the song. I mean, I think the song has like 1 billion views or something like that on YouTube. It's one of her biggest hits. I think this is the big dumb pop that a lot of people were wanting, and I think this actually is successful. This song has permeated pop culture. Basically everybody knows it. It's still played on the radio, and I think it actually holds up in the way that you feel a lot of this album doesn't hold up or compete with the Carly Rae Jepsons or even the Katy Perrys of the era. I think this actually is a competitive song and was as massive as it was because it deserved to be. This is just a good pop song. I ranked it number 2. And Julia, you gave this 10 points, and we just got a lot of Julia, but I feel you're going to want to rebuke my praise of Taylor Swift's vocals on this track, so go ahead.
Go to your average American high school and enter the choir.
Oh, I have. I was a choir kid, and no, they could not.
The best 10 singers to stand up and ask them then to leave the room. Take the 11th best singer at your average American high school, and they can sing better than Taylor Swift in this song. So, first of all, let's get that one out of the way. I can't hear what you're hearing where you're like, oh, that sounds like legitimately good, because, okay.
Right after the rap section, that like vocal wail she does immediately after the rap. And then they'll let the blues run.
Where she sounds like a cat being flayed? Yeah, I don't think so.
I think you're being a little bit too harsh on her. Maybe you could argue a live performance of that, but I think she did nail that in the studio. I'm going to respectfully disagree.
I think she maybe nailed it in the studio because she had help, which she desperately needs. I don't know. Okay, because I will say this song is a real struggle for me. I have an immense amount of difficulty with this tune because I think the chorus is fun and catchy. The lyrical content is maybe the stupidest it's ever been.
So awesome.
It's just awesome. But like, I originally came in dead set. I was certain, beyond all doubt, that this would be my bottom track because it is so that vocal performance has everything I cannot stand from Taylor Swift. It is so squawky for no, like, I cannot handle.
It's squawky because it's about Toucan Sam.
Yeah, I mean, damn, I wish. He is a player. Like, it was so hard for me not to just send this one. It started at the bottom, and I intended to keep it there, but then I was like, you know what, by merit of the song actually being, like, memorable, catchy, which sure comes from years of me having heard it, but I've never liked it in any of the years that I've heard it, and I don't like it now because it has the annoying ass squawky vocals that I'm sorry, I don't hear her like sounding comfortable and confident hitting these notes. They still sound uncertain. They sound uncommitted. I don't know. It just does not work for me. I don't find them impressive or interesting. It has that awful fucking spoken word part that is just cheesy. It's corny. It's not fun. Like, it's her. This is her trying to be funny, but it really just rubs me the wrong way because it's trying so hard to be funny. Because she's just like, am I not just like the funniest little songwriter you ever heard? I was like, no, there are people like, where's the Two Kids song? That would be funny.
That is Single Ladies by Beyonce. The ring she wanted on it was a Fruit Loop.
Yeah.
Steve, you cut out. Your joke is not landing. Repeat the joke.
Girl and 2 or 3 middle-aged producer dudes
where they're all
writing jokes.
To tell her that she's the greatest and like, oh my god, all of your ideas. Like, that is so funny. You're right. Let's show these people. Like,
writing jokes by committee.
Like, melodically, like, I'm not mad about it, and as long as I'm not paying too much attention, if you have the chorus playing in the back at like a sports event or something, I'll be like, sure, yeah, that's like, it has good energy. I like the energy of the song. I think that part really works for me. And I like parts of the production. I like the horns and stuff. I think there is fun stuff in the elements of this song, but it's another one where I'm just like, this is someone getting way too high off their own supply. And I think when I was talking about Taylor Swift with Victor at work yesterday, I was like, it's so funny that she always gets praised for being such a good storyteller and songwriter and all these things. Like, she doesn't write songs like anything like a person who interesting things have happened to. Nothing interesting has ever happened in her life, which is why we have to resort to just like this same shit over and over and over again. And I'm like, I think it's
never even had Fruit Loops.
She's never even had Fruit Loops, and it's like, it's like, this is why you think like this is so clever and this is so smart, is because you've never actually needed to be really clever or smart. I'm sorry.
Damn, Victor, what's your thoughts on this one?
Last time we listened to it, I listened to the back half of the chorus, and I thought she said, "And Baker's gonna bake, bake, bake," but it was Fakers, and that hurt. I thought we were just kind of going into non sequiturs of things that people were gonna do.
Bacon Fruit Loops.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this song is annoying, but like, I would never go out of my way to listen to it again, but it also, like, it's not like Bad Blood where the hook is like just awful. It's like there is an interesting musicality to the chorus. But man, her vocals are so squawky. Greg, you gotta take the low pass filter off of whatever system you're listening to and actually listen to what she's doing. It's awful.
I mean, we are talking to people who enjoy listening to Smashing Pumpkins music when talk about squawky bad vocals. So let's clarify that for the people at home.
Yeah, but she's supposed to be a good singer. Billy Corgan's a guitar player.
Yeah, when Billy
adds texture, and I don't think Taylor Swift's voice lends any interesting texture because it's too busy fucking squawking. Like, it's supposed to sound good, and I think Smashing Pumpkins is allowed to sound kind of bad because it's grunge. Like,
it's loud rock music.
Yeah, like, use the squawky.
Steve, you like Adore. What are you talking about? Loud rock music.
I mean, most of it's loud rock music.
Fucking rocks. Adore is great.
I mean, no, Adore is great, but there's one loud rock song on that album.
But most of what the Smashing Pumpkins did in the early days with the squawky vocals was loud rock music, where squawky vocals is complementary. If you jump to their last, not the previous one, not the most recent one, but like the 2-3 albums before that, when they were trying to be a pop band with Billy Corgan's squawky vocals, it's bad.
Did you not complain during Oceania that it's like, man, this guy's voice is not like these songs are.
I mean, I think that's what killed the Smashing Pumpkins episodes. We just sort of stopped after that because no one wanted to keep going.
We didn't want to do Sear because we didn't want to listen to 70 minutes of Billy Corgan trying to croon over drum machines.
I like Sear.
I hate that album. I've never been able to listen to it all the way through. I've like tried like 6 times. I just like get 60 minutes into it. I'm like, now I'm done. I'm angry. I made it through Autumn a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
The podcast killed it for me.
No, I didn't listen to the podcast. That's one that's just like, I have to be like, all right, I got a 3-hour gap where I need to focus on work. I'm just going to put on Autumn and do that. Or I'm driving for 8 hours today, so let's just put on Autumn and go. More cats.
We're up. Got Hoku in here right now. Because
I'm supposed to talk about Shake It Off at some point, as long
Yep.
as I'm on mic, aren't I?
Here's a song about Billy Corgan's cat on it.
Yeah. Does it really?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And he's done it.
I mean, the man loves cats. This one I put in the high mids. Like, it's the pop single for a reason. I totally get it. I'm burned out on it, and that rap spoken word interlude is bad. It's not good. But for the most part, it is a fun pop song. That a fun pop song about being yourself and ignoring the haters. You just sort of have to ignore that. Most of what the haters are hating on Taylor Swift for are
misogyny.
Pretty founded, other than misogyny. Yeah, I mean, see Julia's rant earlier. Greg, you should just snip that out and release it as its own video.
Maybe I do need more hashtag content.
Hashtag content.
That one will get the controversy going. Then I will have to shake it off because I'll have a bunch of people in my menchies mad at me.
Showing up at the liquor store, be like, "How dare you opinions?"
I will specifically post your Blue Sky link.
Version where it's just the extended Julia just ranting.
All right, Mike, what are your thoughts on this song?
Yeah, so I'm honestly surprised that no one else has mentioned it, but I guess there's a reason why, because it ended up at number 2. Just the upset. I thought this was kind of locked in at number 1, and I'm almost annoyed. I'm annoyed that it didn't make it to number 1, but it just made it to number 2. Like, if this panel had just decided to go rogue and put it at like number 13, I'd be like, all right, well, we just did whatever we wanted. But clearly we got the idea of it all the way to number 2, but couldn't just recognize that it was the best song on the album. So that's weird to me, kind of annoying, but it's all gravy, baby. Yeah, it's interesting to hear you guys talk about the vocals. I'm kind of somewhere in between. I mean, Greg, I don't think I would be like, truly the Whitney Houston of our time. But also, I don't know. I don't get brutally cat being strangled grating from it either. I actually kind of thought and including the cheesy rap part, which I kind of agree is cheesy, but I felt like Taylor Swift sounding the way she does and doing things like a cheesy rap, like I guess especially in the context of this song, like to me that was just kind of the charm of Taylor Swift. I'm like, okay, again, like I'm not the target for this, but like this is Taylor Swift being Taylor Swift, singing about how she goes out on too many dates and does a little giggle. Like, this is what people are enjoying about her. She sings how she sings. Like, I don't think she's, technically a great vocalist, but I also kind of enjoy singers, especially who write their own songs and then do their own singing, who have a little bit of, their own character and sound, even if they aren't, like, technically vocal virtuosos or whatever. So I'm okay with all of that. This is definitely a milestone song in her career for me, and probably just is a milestone song in her career in general, where like You Belong With Me was the first song I remember from her that was like, there's this teenage country singer out there, and this to me is definitely like the definitive Taylor Swift has made a career change. She has decided she's really going the pop route now, even though I know it's not her first pop song, but I just remember this one being so huge and so everywhere. And then just really quick, because Billy Corgan did come up, I've been meaning to tell you, Greg, that you were correct, that his podcast has been very enjoyable from the little bit I've checked out.
Yeah, I don't listen to every episode, and he's definitely lost some points with me for really plugging his Joe Rogan interview. But hey, he's had some good guests on his podcast. But hey, kids, we're at the number one song of the album, which actually I predicted this would be the winner by a wide margin, and I was not surprised at all. Not because I think it's the best song on the album, but because I know who the panelists are. And so this was the song I figured everyone could agree upon. So before we get to it, let's go from the ranking to the bottom to the top. Bad Blood, This Love, How You Get the Girl, Welcome to New York, You Are in Love, Wonderland, Wildest Dreams, I Know Places, Out of the Woods, I Wish You Would, Clean, All You Had to Do Was Stay, New Romantics, Blank Space, Shake It Off. But the best song on 1989 by Taylor Swift, according to this panel of experts, is Style, which does not surprise me because, I mean, one, the main hook of the song is an actual instrument. So, and it kind of sounds like it gives off like a Boys of Summer, like Don Henley kind of vibe, which is just a universally beloved song. It's got some of the better hooks, some of the better melodies. Everyone loves One Direction, universally beloved band. So obviously the song about One Direction, everyone's gonna be like, yes, best song. But like, this is the song that I feel like what a lot of people were wanting from the album. Where like, there's a different flavor. It's doing some interesting things musically. It's catchy. It's poppy. It's using the pop genre to like make a song she couldn't have done as a country song and working well. And because it has a little bit of like that rock and roll edge where it's not just like loops over and over again. I think that is why this panel ranks it as number one. And like across the board, 14 points, 16 points, 14 points, 16 points, 15 points. The lowest was 13 points. So I just knew like through the momentum of like everyone here, like it was going to dominate. I didn't think it would necessarily be a lot of people's number one, but I didn't think anybody would rank it low. I thought everyone would rank it pretty high, and I was correct because we're all very predictable people.
Who hated this song?
Steve ranked it the lowest at 13 points.
Yeah, I ranked it the lowest. Honestly, I don't hate it. It's got that kind of smooth Miami kind of sound, where like there's those hyper compressed long tail snares, just kind of like driving things along kind of slowly. That was generally my thought. Is like, this is all right. I don't hate it, but if I wanted to listen to like this vibe, I would probably put on the Hotline Miami OST first. And not have to listen to Taylor Swift squawk about Harry Styles.
So I'm going to have Mike go next because Julia and Victor both ranked this as number one. So we'll see if there's any positive commentary. But Mike, you said you were surprised at this one. How do you feel about this one winning over Shake It Off, given this group?
Yeah, I mean, I was more surprised that Shake It Off just didn't make it to number one. I'm not surprised that this one would end up in the top few. I thought I didn't consciously think it would, but had you asked me to, then yeah, I would have said it would have. Steve, I like that Miami sound. I never really thought I don't know if I've ever heard that term, but that very much is the Miami sound or whatever. You say that and right away it makes sense to me.
My partner listens to a lot of music with that vibe, so in the last 5 years, I've really gotten familiar with that vibe. I'm like, okay, that's the sort of thing that she would like.
That's the vibe. Yeah, it's good. It's another. This one and Blank Space, for whatever reason, are kind of intertwined in my mind, where I almost have to remember which one is which, and I think it just I think both just happen to be kind of randomly playing in the background around the same time period for me. I think they were both used on, but definitely this one on Comcast a lot, when you'd be watching stuff on demand. I would fall asleep a lot watching TV, and then just hear the random stuff they would play over and over, and Style was one of them, where it was just check out Comcast, and then you just kind of hear this song and whatever other little ads they had. Yeah, I mean, it's a good song. It's again, this is one of those few where it's Shake It Off, Style, Blank Space, whatever. This is what I get, where I'm like, okay, this is why Taylor Swift is having a lot of pop success. I get why people are really enjoying this. It's not my main style of music, but I get it. It's just when you dig deeper on this album that you're kind of like, yikes. But this one's a winner. This one will never go out of style.
I just realized it's like the Journey album Escape, where the singles are the best singles you've ever heard in your entire life, and then the filler tracks are the worst trash. And there is no in between on that album. It's either like amazing or just the shittiest music you've ever heard. Like Escape is a
The
weird
singles are the
album.
best you've ever heard, like Blank Space. Sorry, like Bad Blood.
Well, not that one. That is a Journey filler track if there ever was one. So let's get into the two people who think that this song is amazing. Julie and Victor, best song on the album. You guys won. You won the panel. So how do you feel?
Good. Feels good to be a winner. I truly ranked these songs on like which ones made me the most mad versus which ones make me the least mad, and this was the one song on this record that never made me mad. Like I've always been fine with it. Even when it came out, I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I'm into this kind of like not into it enough to like add it to a playlist or ever choose to listen to it of like my own listening time. But when it plays at places I work or I'm out shopping and I hear it, I'm always like, yeah, that's fine. It's inoffensive. Um, and I think it was the best proof of concept for a different direction for Taylor Swift.
I the first time I heard it, which actually this was not one that I recognized when we put up the album on however long. So I'm not sure I'd ever heard this before. It's a very pleasant kind of mall pop kind of a sound that I enjoy, I guess. It's for all of the money that gets put into the production of Taylor Swift's album, it's a little bit embarrassing that somebody's cell phone goes off in between the pre-chorus and the chorus every time. I mean, it syncs up okay, but it's a little odd. Um, and I think it's pleasant. And we were actually, I think the last time that we listened to it this week, we were talking about like, you know what, with Taylor Swift's earlier albums, it's like if you're making a sort of a pop country playlist, each of those albums has like 2 or 3 songs that you could go on that playlist. And now that she's just pop, I'm not gonna, if I'm putting together a pop of the 2010s playlist, I don't think there's anything off this album that's like gonna make the cut. Well, maybe style. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think it's pleasant, and maybe is good enough that I would listen to it outside the context of doing this podcast. Not so sure about that, but yeah, I think this is a decent song. It sounds good.
Decent song, the highest praise we'll get. I would say the top three, if you're making a pop of the 2010s, I think the top three are good on that playlist. I mean, because Shake It Off and Blank Space, like those were mega hits, and that does give you that nostalgia dopamine hit of saying, "Oh yeah, this song." So I would put those on the playlist. But now we're in the.
Victor,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
was saying, I love that comment about the cell phone. You're like, oh, big budget. How's there a cell phone going off? I'm like, what is he talking about? And then I went and played it, and I'm never not going to hear that now.
It sounds exactly like an old cell phone ringtone.
I've never thought that before, and yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know if that will ruin the song a little bit or just make it that much better for me. So.
I mean, it gets comedy points from me.
So now we're into closing thoughts. I don't know if we really need to. We've kind of beaten this album to death, and I think everyone basically agrees that I think I'm the only one who thinks this is a good album in this group. I think it is a different style, pun intended, than the previous albums, in the same way that like Rocky 3 doesn't have the same emotional depth of 1 and 2, but it's still an awesome movie. It's just like it's more glossy, polished, kind of dumber. Taylor Swift in this album single-handedly defeated Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. So I get it. It's not what everyone is looking for in a Taylor Swift record, but I enjoy it, and I do think for a certain type of fan, I can see why this would be appealing, but it does in the same way that like someone who loved Rocky 1 and 2 really wanted the emotional depth and just Rocky 3 does not offer that. I can see where this is disappointing, but it's not bad. It's just different. Everyone else thinks it's
I
bad.
think the difficult thing for me is that she has really lost a lot of her charm on this one. At least I feel like that. It's a little bit. That's why I was saying before with Shake It Off. Like I feel like she shows her charm on that, and that's why I'm not as critical of her vocals on that. But for the most part, she just really kind of lost, yeah, her charm to me. And I get it, especially when you start so young and you're like literally growing up as a celebrity, and your people are allowed to change their thoughts and their preferences and the type of music they make or the art they create or whatever. And so I get it. I'm not begrudging or any of that. It's just for me, as someone who's not a hardcore Taylor Swift fan, but as someone who's really, now been sitting down and listening to her albums in full, this one was a sharp drop off for me. And I remember going to the Country Music Hall of Fame. I want to say in 2016, yeah, 2016, and they had all the obvious, the huge legendary artists who had already been inducted, and then there was this room where you went into, and it was kind of like up and comers who they were excited about, like, oh, so and so is working on their second album, and we'll see where his career goes. And I remember they had this little thing with Taylor Swift, and it was very like. It was like Taylor Swift was a country artist and was very successful, and she has now decided to go a different route. I'm very much paraphrasing, but it was like she's decided to go a different route, and again, I'm paraphrasing. It felt like it was like, and although we will never talk to her again or hear from her ever again, or do or even listen to what she does again, we wish her well. It was very much like it felt like she is dead to us. She kind of betrayed us. She was country. We recognize that era of her, but like whatever she's doing now, like you're dead to us, Taylor. And I remember kind of being like, it's a little bit harsh. This is still a relatively young girl. You're like this massive institution. Did you need to be this harsh? And then in the past couple weeks listening to this album, I was like, I get it, Country Music Hall of Fame. I get it. They heard this album and they were like, they typed that out and laminated it. Now I get why I read that mean little paragraph.
And it's interesting.
Years ago.
It's interesting because this album intentionally, like, her label wanted there to be like a token country song so they could sell something to country radio. And it was a deliberate choice, like nothing that could even be partially construed as country. And later on, she started doing more acoustic songs and like playing the CMAs with more of her acoustic material from later albums. And now the Country Music Hall of Fame has a picture of her from the Eras tour with an acoustic guitar because they're like, yeah, she's totally still country enough, right? So they're like, never mind, JK.
I mean, also this entire time she's had like the Taylor Swift Educational Center as part of the Country Music Hall of Fame. So I think, any attempt to distance themselves from her artistically has to be hampered by the fact that they are very financially entwined with her.
Well, Steve, let's transition into your thoughts on this album.
Yeah, it was a very distinct change from the previous album. One meta thought that I've noticed is looking at the credits. Every song lists Swift as a co-producer except for the ones with Shellback, and I wonder if that's that he like put his foot down of like, no, Taylor Swift, your contributions aren't production. We're not just gonna tack your name on here as a producer just because you're the talent, or if it was him putting his foot down about like, no, Taylor Swift, we don't want any of your production contributions.
It could just be that they had an under the table agreement to give those production kickbacks to Shellback.
You know what I honestly think it is? I think it's probably the second option. If you listen to how those songs are produced, I think the other songs definitely have Taylor's input as a producer, and those big Martin Shellback ones, they feel like she has her say as a songwriter, but it definitely feels like as a producer she had no say in those. Is the vibe I get.
They were like, you can work with Nathan, but not the adults.
I mean, I think that is probably how it is, and I think that's also probably why she didn't work with them again. Because I think so.
They make me millions of dollars without letting me take all the credit.
Well,
Wait, so
I think it's
Some is so much worse than her previous work. Does that mean that Natty Chap was like the secret ingredient?
I think This Love might have ranked a little higher if Nate Sea Dog was the special sauce.
yeah. Julia, Victor, thoughts on this album? I know you hate it, but if you want to close on how you hate it,
It's not good. The album 1989 by Taylor Swift. I recommend listening to just about anything else, including other Taylor Swift albums. One thing that was also really funny was Julia was looking up the Swiftie Reddit situation about 1989, and even on there, people seem to be like, "Yeah, 1989 doesn't really do it for me anymore." I'll let you elaborate on that if you want.
I don't wanna. We've said enough. I mean, the only two words that come to mind with this record are just generic and inauthentic. And we've seen her do better than that. Even if it's not my favorite, we've seen her do better than that. So, I don't know.
well, good news. Next time,
Better albums to listen to includes Trout Mask Replica and Philosophy of the World, and most other Taylor Swift albums.
Lulu by Metallica and Lou Reed.
Like, honestly, if
Music
you
from
wanna
the Elder.
listen to, like, experimental electronic stuff, can I please recommend Kid A by Radiohead?
oh yeah, this is the plug section. Do your plugs.
Listen to Kid A by Radiohead. Oh, let go.
And also follow Lady Celery.
Yeah, also follow Lady Celery, where I'll continue to tell you to listen to Kid A.
The thing I have to plug is Moonlight Drowns has a cover of Pink Pony Club coming out whenever DistroKid releases it.
Nice.
So you should listen to that because that's fun.
Somebody who squawks with style there.
Somebody squawks with style.
This isn't singing. This is squawking with style. Yeah, check out Baseball Methodist if we ever do anything. Good band.
Mike, do you want to plug any music you think the fans at home should listen to other than this album?
Yeah, well, I don't think there'll be a lot of crossover fans, but I'll still plug it. A band I like a lot, The Darkness, just released a new album yesterday, Dreams on Toast. If you like The Darkness, you'll probably at least like some of it. If you dislike The Darkness, you'll probably dislike most or all of it. But I will say that it kind of has a mix of things that people traditionally like about The Darkness, and then things that people are like, oh, well, I only like when they sound like Queen, or I only like when they sound like whatever. It has some of that too. So, if there's like two fans out there like me who for some reason listen to The Darkness and Taylor Swift, then check out Dreams on Toast.
And my plug will actually be for the next episode of this podcast, which date to be determined. But we're doing the 1989 Vault tracks next.
Oh no! I forgot we did Vault. Oh no!
There was more?
I thought we could make a clean break. I'm thinking we're on to the next album. Oh, I forgot about.
The good news is this is the last batch of Vault tracks, and it's also only 5 songs.
Okay.
Are they?
One of them is a Diane
Or
Warren.
they're actually-
One of them is a Diane Warren co-write. Yeah, there was 5 songs that didn't make the
good?
album. The Diane Warren song. I don't want to give spoilers. And also, one of the Vault tracks actually has become a pretty big hit where actually I hear it on the radio all the time. So, was that song good enough to be on the album? We'll find out next time.
The 10-minute version of All Too Well became big, and that's not good. So I don't trust nothing.
Trust nothing. That is the episode. Bye, Internet.
Goodbye, Internet.